Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, just starting this morning with a little bit of an update on the horse race. I'm sure you've seen some of the more recent polling on the presidential race, or at least the coverage of said recent polling, swing state polling on the presidential race, where Trump still enjoys a lead in 6 to 7 of the putative 7 swing states. He's up a couple points, so I mean he's winning a close race right now, and I wouldn't want to get over my skis on that, and I wouldn't get overconfident either. This is going to be a grind right to November 5th, but there's some dynamics at play here. Some in the electorate, and some in at the state level, particularly in Nebraska, that are worth checking in on. It's always enjoyable to see Serpent Head Carville not particularly liking where his party is at any given moment. He gets very irascible. I know, and I mean, I do too, with respect to my party. But I don't know. For some reason, the Schadenfreude I feel when the left is despondent over their station in a particular political cycle. It's just taken to a next level when it's James Carville for some reason. He's worried about young people leaving his party in what he calls droves. And he's got a message to the youngsters who feel exasperated by particularly their financial situation in the Biden era under the thumb of Bidenomics.
I've been very vocal about this. It's horrifying. Our numbers among younger voters, particularly younger blacks, younger Latinos, or whatever, but whatever younger, I don't like the younger people of color.
He doesn't know what to call Latinos anymore. He can't keep up with the terminology.
We're not shedding them. They're leaving in the droves. And it don't take time to understand their lives. They think that all politics is just a bunch of bullshit. People arguing back and forth. Here I am, I'm 26 years old. There's given interest rates, insurance costs, everything that's going on in my life. I don't think I'll ever own a house. Living with my parents, I just think the whole thing is just full of shit. And I've expressed my contempt or apathy at the system, and I'm telling John Delavolpe at Harvard, and I'm telling the Quinnipiac people and Marist people, and I don't know, whoever else, the Wall Street Journal poll. I'm disengaged. All right, I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm going to say this to you. And you're right, after 4 years, Biden will be gone, Trump will be gone, and maybe the country can get on with the future that includes you. But if Trump wins, I want you to understand what you have at stake in this election. The Federalists, Leonard Leo, they got a $1.6 billion. They got 50 highly trained, highly indoctrinated, highly brainwashed people like this judge in Amarillo. And Trump gets in, and they're going to appoint them, and they're going to appoint them all in their 40s. And for the next 35 years of your life, they're going to do nothing but with you. All right?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. How do you feel about Jimmy Carville, Mr. Mary Matlin's pitch to younger voters to stick with Biden and Bidenomics, even though it's not working out great for you? And by the way, in that Wall Street Journal poll, since he mentioned it, Biden is winning only 50% of the voters under the age of 30. That's 10 percentage points more than Trump, but he's winning by 10 among that demographic. In 2020, he won that group by 25.
Oh, wow.
So that's what Carville's talking about when he's talking about people under the age of 30 leaving the party in droves and the problem it presents. It's not the only problem.
No, and he's not the only one that's nervous. Dr. Jill, don't call me a doctor, She was
Well,
on
she's not a
CBS
doctor.
this morning with Oprah Winfrey's best friend, Gail King. And she knows, yeah, 6 of the 7 states in the swing states her husband is losing, but don't give up hope.
But when these polls, like the Wall Street Journal one, land in the White House and he's losing in all the battleground states.
No, he's not losing in all the battleground
one.
states. He's coming up, and he's even or doing better. So you know what? Once people start to focus in and they see their two choices, it's obvious that Joe will win this election.
I mean,
Well,
she was not
whatever.
having it.
Whatever.
He's
I mean,
coming.
she's a dingbat wife. What does
well-
she know?
Well, he's got to win, or else they're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
They're going to be investigated if they don't win.
Some other takeaways from this journal poll. Trump has a support of 30% of black men, 47% of Latino men. In fact, Trump is winning Latino men outright. And in 2020, Biden won 91% of black voters of both genders, compared with 68% in recent polls. He won 63% of Latino voters in 2020, compared with 45% in the Journal's national survey, 48% in the swing states. So, I mean, when you see double-digit attrition among some of these core demographics for the Democrat Party, you should be concerned. Now, the flip side is when you see that sort of attrition and Trump is only up by 2, 3, 4 points, if you include RFK Jr., that bumps up a little bit more, you should be concerned too, because it's not like he is lapping Biden here. It's not like this is a double-digit lead, even though you see double-digit attrition among these core demographics, because of course, single white women and the awfuls in the wealthy suburbs are propping Joe Biden up, and the peahats that they're married to, those male impersonators. So it's a long way to go, but it is worth noting where we stand. These snapshots in time. So, record this in your logbook of where we stood in early April of 2024, and as we track the developments with respect to the administration of elections, as well as the administration of whatever justice is these days with those Trump trials. Speaking of the administration of elections, there's another development, too, that has Democrats a little sideways. Oh, and by the way, Carville mentions Leonard Leo. So have you seen recently the push, again, a renewed push, more op-ed writers on the left calling for Sonia Sotomayor to resign, to retire, I should say? We need to get Supreme Court justices in their 40s, not pushing 70 right now. In case Trump wins, we can't have anybody go and have him, per Carville's concern, packing the court, packing federal district and appellate courts, and of course, most importantly, the Supreme Court with more strict constructionists. So anyway, I just think that's interesting too in terms of an expression of their anxiety. But this administration of elections, so Nebraska. Right. So as you probably seen, the reporting is Nebraska is moving or attempting to move, Republicans in Nebraska, led by former Governor Pete Ricketts, and now Senator. Republicans moving to change Nebraska from a distributed electoral votes, so Democrats get one out of Warren Buffett's hometown, Omaha,
Right.
normally, to winner take all. And it turns out that one electoral vote could disrupt the Democrat socialist strategy if indeed it is a race that's as close as it might be. The math leaves them that Omaha electoral vote short of winning if the play is to win Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, but lose those other swing states. When it's not winner take all, they get to 270 with that Omaha electoral vote. When it is winner take all, they don't. And Pete Ricketts is pushing this. I'm pleased to welcome Senator Mike McDonald to my team. One of the state senators in Nebraska moved from Democrats to Republicans. The addition of McConnell, the Republican roles in the legislature, means for the first time in recent memory, there's a filibuster-proof Republican majority in the unicameral, remember, Nebraska unicameral legislature. The timing heading into a presidential election is an awesome opportunity to mobilize our Republican majority to a winner-take-all system and put one more electoral vote in the Republican column for 2024. And this is not going unnoticed by operatives like a Carville from the Clinton era, like a Jim Messina from the Obama era, his campaign manager from 2012.
If he wins Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, but loses the other swing states and no longer picks up the one in Nebraska, 269. That leads playbook this morning, the alarm among Democrats that this is possible. What do you think?
I think this is what the modern Republican Party has become. They're now changing the rules in the middle, trying to benefit themselves. This is the hell that Donald Trump hath wrought. In the middle of this, changing the rules 200 days before the election is ridiculous. I think you're right. I think there are real simulation problems. When you look at the map, that one electoral vote really matters in the combination of other things. Then you need another state. Yeah. And so the easiest pathway to victory has always been the Midwestern three states combined with Nebraska. Something tells me they're not going to get away with it this easy, and there will be a national outcry if they're trying to change the rules here. But it looks like they're going to look at it.
Could you imagine such a thing as changing the rules midstream in an election season?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of such a thing? Could you imagine a political party changing the rules? Pennsylvania, Georgia, Maricopa County, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan. Can you imagine?
They use COVID as the excuse.
Can you imagine? Yeah, right. The entire country, with a mail-in election. Yeah, could you imagine such? Well, that was exigent circumstances. These aren't exigent. Oh, it turns out that elections are, as we were lectured, are state and local matters. They are. And it looks like Republicans in Nebraska are going to vote their shares, just like Democrats. Could you imagine trying to change the rules? I mean, throwing a presidential candidate off the ballot, for example. I mean, could you conceive of such a circumstance? Oh, heavens, Jim Messina. They better get it done with that supermajority that Pete Ricketts is talking about, that they now enjoy, the filibuster-proof majority. Not to mention they have a Republican governor, so there's no problem in the governor's mansion. Yeah, it's nice to see Republicans within the bounds of absolute propriety. You know, most states are winner-take-all states in the general election. Within the bounds, say, you know what? I think that makes more sense, and we have the votes to do it, and so we're going to do it. Precedents are funny things, aren't they? Changing the rules midstream in a presidential year. All right. Coming up at 5:38, get used to saying the phrase, that ghetto right there, that used to be Chicago's financial district. 5:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
5:32 on AM 560. The Answer. Emergency crews are trying to reach hundreds of people in need of rescue. After a major earthquake rocked eastern Taiwan, the National Fire Agency there saying 700 are stranded, 1,000 injured, 10 killed. President Biden plans to speak with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. Fox's Jared Halpern.
The conversation between the president and prime minister will be the first since an Israeli airstrike killed several humanitarian aid workers this week in Gaza. The president described outrage over the incident. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says that does not signal a shift in U.S. support for Israel.
We are working very closely with them. We will continue to work closely with them to make sure they can defend themselves, but also that they do it in a way that is in keeping with the highest standards of the law of armed conflict.
President Biden has warned Netanyahu against a ground invasion of Rafah in southern Gaza, where more than 1 million civilians are seeking refuge. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
An investigation by the FAA is underway after a Southwest Airlines flight was forced to make an emergency landing during severe turbulence on Wednesday, the plane landing in Tampa. Wednesday's stormy weather impacting salvage efforts at the site of the Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore. U.S. Coast Guard Rear Admiral Shannon Gilreath.
Now, we need to lift those undamaged containers off to give us space to safely operate, to begin to plan to remove portions of the bridge that are also now embedded into the ship. But we need a weather window to do that.
Crane operations were put on hold yesterday because of severe thunderstorms. Experts are warning people to be safe when viewing the upcoming solar eclipse. Dr. Nitin Kumar is an ophthalmologist at Henry Ford Health.
It's really, really bad to look at the sun. You should not look at the sun. There are many ways to look at it, either directly through a filter or indirectly.
Looking at the sun unprotected, even briefly, will cause permanent eye damage. Cook County medical examiner investigating after an off-duty Chicago police officer was found dead inside of a home in the West Ridge neighborhood yesterday. There's been no indication of cause of death. Chicago police and the mayor's office allege murders and other violent crimes continue to decline through the first part of the year. According to Chicago police numbers, there have been 111 murders in the city over the first 3 months of the year, down 5% from the same time last year. In Springfield, the House is racing to pass bills by a Friday deadline. House Bill 4611 is one. It will require auto insurance rates be determined by driving factors, not according to some socioeconomic factors. It passed out of committee Tuesday. Under stipulations, the bill would be amended. Illinois Insurance Association says they're opposed to the original and updated bills, saying they don't look at factors like race. The industry does look at credit scores. Experts examining the bill say rates will go up if passed for good drivers, safe communities, and senior drivers. Cubs beat the Rockies and get a series sweep with a 9-8 win at Wrigley. And the White Sox game against the Braves yesterday rained and snowed out. The news a service of Turnkey.pro. Turnkey knows small business, and their team of veteran consultants know how to reduce costs and grow new revenue streams, all without having to hire on-site professionals. Visit Turnkey.pro. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum doesn't see hope in the next generation.
Maybe other generations were doing this. I find it more apparent in young people. They're unequipped for success in America. They do not know how to multitask. They do not know how to think on the go. They're unequipped. And I think it's the lack of fathers, the lack of leadership and mentorship.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Imagine what your future looks like. Is the picture a little blurry? Hey, it's Sean Thompson here for Alpha Wealth Group. When we look ahead, we're visualizing where we want to be, and for retirement, that can be hard without a written financial plan. Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help you bring your retirement picture into focus. For decades, Tom has been crafting customized financial strategies. His goal is to help you protect your savings, grow your wealth, and create an income strategy you cannot outlive. If you're nearing or already in retirement, it's time to get your plan on paper. So bring your readers and let's take a look at it closely. Call Tom at 630-934-1855 and schedule a complimentary retirement consultation. There is no cost, there is no obligation. This is a chance to get a clearer view of your retirement. The number again is 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
540, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. Good morning to our friends in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Highway 165, your main east-west there as you head toward the expressway, closed down due to a bad accident at Corporate Drive. 8094 westbound between Grant and Klein, report of an accident. Now 3 left lanes are blocked westbound at 8094 between Grant and Klein. Kennedy right now stop and go inbound Foster into Montrose, and the Eden's already jammed up this morning. 18 minutes in Lake Cook Road to the junction. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy, chilly, snow and rain this morning. A few rain showers this afternoon. Only a high of 42. 37 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Down goes the loop.
She gone, or he gone.
It was just a dream under Mayor Triple Threat. Well, under BLM Brandon, it's about to become reality. Going to turn the financial district into a ghetto.
Wow. That's not how he sees it. He's low-income housing.
The LaSalle Street ghetto. Cabrini Green 2.0, but in the financial district. Low-income housing. Those are fighting words. So is ghetto, for that matter. Affordable housing is the term that you use. That's the euphemism. BLM Brandon announcing yesterday plans to propose a combined $151 million in TIF assistance as part of 4 projects, to finance 4 projects that include a total of about $500 million in investments. The projects stand to create more than 1,000 new apartments, with at least 319 projected to have, quote-unquote, affordable rents through TIF assistance. The affordable rents would be, the affordable units, I should say, would be reserved for tenants earning an average of 60% of the area's median income or less, about $53,000 for a 2-person household. These 4 projects demonstrate our shared commitment to revitalizing downtown and creating affordable housing in every single neighborhood. Affordable housing in every single neighborhood. Remember that phrase.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. You can also reach us on this hot text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Give me that Summers. Come early, folks.
Is that what we've decided to call it?
I mean, I'm still open to something better. We're waiting for Ralph from Rantoul to get us his rendition of "Cruel Summer." Yeah, I mean, if you come with a song, then we have to consider it an original song or a Weird Al, Yankovic type of original.
Yeah,
song.
and Ralph, we're ready for you if you ever want to call in and start singing.
Yeah, we've got some others. Summer of Shell Casings and so forth.
Summer of Silly.
Yeah. Right.
I like that one.
The Silly Kid Summer.
Kid Summer.
Yeah, something, along those lines. I get it. But no, this really needs some pouring over. Because we talked about it when Triple Threat proposed it, and it was a horrific idea then, if you care about Chicago. And I know I love all the trolls on social media. You lecturing Florida Dan about Chicago, and he's just channeling his anger, and John Cass too. And they're just angry because they left, and they're angry at people who didn't leave or didn't recognize the trajectory of Chicago. I don't even think they can see that point, but really, yeah. So it's funny. I suppose if we didn't care about Chicago, we wouldn't be saying the same things that a lot of Chicago residents are saying. Like a trader friend of both of ours, Amy. Who we communicated when this was rolled out yesterday. There have been 5 killings in the last 3 years, 100 yards from where he parks at the Financial Place garage, which is near the CBOE, of course. And he can't really work out at the Buckingham Athletic Club anymore because there were 2 bullets that pierced the glass there right in front of the treadmills that people use. So I asked him, do you think bringing more effectively state dependence, because that's what affordable housing does, to the neighborhood, do you think that's going to improve conditions? No, I don't think so. I'm pressed for an example where that has occurred in places this has been attempted. Remember that phrase. Affordable housing in every single neighborhood. I want you to remember that phrase because I want you to remember the impact when it comes to your neighborhood. Finally, it's sort of like violent crime coming to your neighborhood. Finally, some people wake up when the neighbors are literally screaming bloody murder.
Wait, what 1,100 people are going to want to move in there? Would you want to live? I wouldn't want to live down there.
Well, more than that,
racket.
But that's gonna revitalize LaSalle Street. Our friend Jeff Carter wrote about this, and again, he was a Merck guy. If you know Chicago history, and I do, you know that for over a century since the city's founding, every effort has been made to make sure the downtown loop is pristine and open for business. Exchanges and accounting firms are headquartered there. Law firms put their footprint there. Some of the world's greatest architecture is there. City, county, and federal government courts and bureaucracies are headquartered there. It's going to become Cabrini Green 2, a hellhole. If you wanted to kill this city, you'd implement this idea. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
And it's 4 apartments, or it's 4 office buildings that they want to convert that are empty. And if it gets going, it's not going to stop at 4.
You still having fun? You still enjoying watching the new Marxists play SimCity with Chicago? Pulling from Jeff Carter's post at his Substack. I mean, and he speaks for a lot of people who work or did work in financial services, particularly the guys at the exchanges. Who will go to work there? It won't be safe. The downtown clubs are going to have to beef up security. Forget about being safe in a parking garage. Well, per our trader friends' experience over the last 3 years before this comes online. Millennium Park is already a disaster under the current mayor. My last springtime visit to Chicago saw metal detectors and heavy metal fencing all around it. Now it'll become a killing field. The parks to the south down to the museum campus will become totally unsafe if they aren't already. And he also points to the politics of this, which we have to talk about a little bit more. Pritzker will get on board. Of course he will. He can bail out real estate flunkies who are underwater on their loans and the value of their buildings, these vacant commercial buildings you were just talking about. The mayors daily were both corrupt, but they knew you could never lose the loop. This would never have happened on their watch. That might be true, and that's all well and good, but don't forget my admonition when people hearken back to the dailies. They sowed the seeds of what is being reaped today. So they are co-conspirators in these city-destroying ideas that are being advanced.
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, it sounds like they're adding a new feature to the world's largest shooting range.
Well, very a la the dailies, one thing this does is take care of some friends. And, if you can't take care of your friends, paraphrasing old Mayor Daley, if you can't take care of your friends, you can't help your friends, who can you help?
That's right. Remember that.
Developer Quentin Primo III.
Love that guy.
He's cheerleading this, of course, because he's in on the deal. He and another developer, Michael Reschke, joining forces on a $200 million project at 111 West Monroe to convert 14 floors within a pair of adjacent buildings, including a 113-year-old high-rise, into 345 units of new housing, 105 of them affordable. $40 million in TIF assistance they're in line for. And you know what?
Sounds like a good gig.
Well, it's not only that. It's only a good deal because when the government backs your play to eliminate risk, that's a pretty good deal usually. That's why rent seekers seek rents. But Primo said, hey, we'll be able to do what the city electorate was unable to do, which is put together that $100 million fund for the homeless. How about put them right in these places?
Oh, there you go. That's a lot of the homeless will be illegals when they eventually kick them out of these shelters that they keep telling us they're doing.
If you want to have a homeless situation in Chicago that's better than San Fran or better than we see in L.A., you got to invest in it. We got to solve it. That takes money. My wife and I are dedicating ourselves to it. You got to pay for it. And we're also dedicating all the taxpayers who are subsidizing our affordable housing projects to it. Uh-huh. Yeah, he's a big cheerleader. Big cheerleader for the referendum that failed and big cheerleader for the underlying $100 million set-aside to quote-unquote house the unhoused, even though the referendum did fail. Matt in Mount Greenwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I'm almost speechless. Good morning. I'm almost speechless at this man's utter stupidity. I've got a few buddies who are traders, and we talked about the LaSalle Street tax a while back, and they said they'll just leave the keys on the table and move to Austin, move to Atlanta, wherever, do their trading there. But this point is that, these conversations we also had, it's like, it's men of means and women of means who built this city and not the government, the Marshall Fields and the names go on and on. What's left of the city will just be utterly destroyed. Let's face it, the restaurants, the hotels, nobody's going to want to go down there. There's a job that I know of, $100 million retrofit of an existing beautiful bank building. They want to bring business back to Chicago, but they're not going to spend $100 million on this building if you're going to be turning those buildings nearby into a ghetto, which is going to happen. Forget about parades. Forget about the downtown scene in the summertime. It's all going to be gone, but they don't care. And when are people going to start caring? Have a good day, folks.
Thanks for the call, Matt. Well, they're playing the same game. They're politically connected developers. Same game that Daley played. It's just the connections are a little bit different. And the tribes in charge are a little bit different. But the kleptocratic fun is not any different.
Why wasn't Mayor Lightfoot successful with this idea? Remember when she floated it around, but then when COVID hit, and I don't know.
Yeah, she just didn't go to the mat for it the way that BLM Brandon is.
Well, now that Bring Chicago Home initiative failed, he's still, trying to reinvent that.
He's our 21st century Daniel Burnham. Make no small plans, BLM Brandon. This is a big plan to destroy the loop. Len in Highland Park.
Good morning. So what if the Merc leaves? 99% of the people
that went down there every day, the 100,000 people that worked in the back offices and on the trading floors, don't go there anymore.
Right.
And this is the perfect time for BLM to call Terry Duffy about the transaction tax because it's nominal. Okay? So what if the Merc moves? They don't bring anything anymore. But they're not taxing the traders that went down there every day. They're gone. All those locals are gone. Okay? You're taxing big companies around the world, not people from Chicago. And that would be his selling point. But I think he's just too stupid to bring that up. And sorry, Terry, if I pissed you off by saying what I just said, but I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Which part isn't a big deal? Turning LaSalle Street into a ghetto?
The transaction tax.
Oh, the transaction tax is a big deal. You don't have to be physically there to pay that tax, and it's the way they can put their servers anywhere in the world. Why would they stay here and be punished?
Well, the point is they're not being punished. Okay, it's a nominal tax. Okay, it costs. You don't have guys physically filling orders on the floor anymore. You don't have locals on the floor. That's who they're trying to protect with the transaction tax. If you're a local trading 3,000 a side every day, then it becomes something. But there's no locals anymore. It's all big corporations that trade. So you're not taxing.
Yeah, but you're still you still have
guys that were there before.
You still have people and institutional interests that are domiciled here. I mean, and think about the financial services and the accounting firms that Jeff Carter was talking about that are all built up around the exchanges here. And now all that goes away too. I mean, there's a daisy chain effect that's not being considered. Of course it's not being considered. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Len. Appreciate it. Dave in Wakanda.
Good morning. Pretty soon, Chicago's going to be reminiscent of Escape from New York. See if Kurt Russell wants to do a reprisal with that in mind.
Yeah, he's got maybe a Snake Plissken redo in him. Maybe one more. Dan in Edison Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and good morning, Amy. Affordable housing in every neighborhood. We've been having rezoning meetings up in Edison Park over a proposed 82-unit development right on Northwest Highway.
Oh, that's been going on for a while.
Oh, it has. But we're putting up a nice little fight at the meetings, but there are still goofs in the crowd backing this whole thing. And the last meeting came on the same day as some local clown put an op-ed in the Trib. I don't know who the hell read it, but it was about boosting CTA ridership by developing 2 parcels of land in Norwood Park on Harlem Avenue. And this whole idea is just absolutely ridiculous, and we got to get our stuff together.
Hey, who's that alderhuman you had there before Napolitano who was championing that? What was that guy's name?
It was Mary O'Connor.
The dude that beat Garrido in that close race.
That's not Garrido's ward, though.
I know, but he was a champion of this affordable housing, bringing the affordable housing to the Northwest Side, too.
It was,
you know who I'm talking about.
His name now.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're big shots one day, and then they're gone, and you just forget their names. Should tell you something about politicians and being their temporary representatives. And
right.
And trying to put them out of your memory as quickly as possible. Thanks for the call, Dan. George in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Dan, how lucky Chicago is to have a mayor looking out for everyone and making it an affordable summer. There's so much to do there.
Thanks for the call. An affordable summer.
Oh, that's a good one. Was
A
it John
summer-
Arena?
John Arena, that's
Okay.
it. Very good. Yeah. All right, now forget him
Okay.
again. The
Yes, that's a good
summer
one,
of
summer.
affordability. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
I could put the Gimme That grocery store next to those, in the LaSalle district too.
Yeah,
Set
exactly.
up one of those.
No, there's no
It could
question.
be like kind of bodegas in New York. We can have them everywhere.
Right. As Chicago, and then Illinois becomes the land not of Lincoln, but of Link cards.
Hey.
Hi-oh.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
This is Seth Leibson for Townhall.com. It looks pretty clear that Israel Defense Forces killed several leading officials in the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in Syria. One of them, the chief of operations in the region, was the Iranian liaison to the head of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, with whom he was in daily contact. The Biden administration sent a direct communication to Iran's leadership that the U.S. had nothing to do with this. The organizations which these Iranians in Syria led are, like Hezbollah, listed as terrorist entities by our own State Department, raising the question, why would we apologize and ensure our innocence for killing terrorists? This is a regime that opens its parliament shouting death to America. Iran's Hezbollah introduced itself to the world by murdering 241 Marines in 1983, and Iranian militias have killed thousands since then, including over 1,000 Americans. Israel should be praised if they did this, and America should not be engaging the anxious propitiation with Iran for it. These are men with whom we simply cannot share the earth. I'm Seth Leibson.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Elon Musk gets a lot of credit for being a champion of free speech. How about Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling? J.K. Rowling's fight for free speech over there in Scotland at 6:06.
Today it's going to be cold once again, chilly with a couple of rain or snow showers. It is now 6 a.m. WIND.
Delay denied. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Former President Trump's criminal trial in New York, where he's accused of falsifying business records for hush money payments, is still scheduled to start a week from Monday, April 15th. His attorneys asked for a delay while the Supreme Court considers the question of presidential immunity in the federal election interference case.
Judge Juan M. Merchan criticized the former president's attorneys for filing the request so soon before jury selection. Meanwhile, lawyers for the former president want the judge to recuse himself because of his daughter's work at a firm that was hired by Vice President Kamala Harris. Jill Nato, Fox News.
President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu were expected to speak today for the first time since an Israeli airstrike killed 7 food aid workers in Gaza Monday.
We were targeted deliberately, non-stop, until everybody was dead in this convoy.
World Central Kitchen founder Jose Andre says this wasn't just bad luck. Netanyahu says innocent people were killed unintentionally. President Biden says he's outraged and heartbroken. It's NATO's birthday.
It has been 75 years since President Harry Truman signed the NATO treaty. Secretary of State Blinken, at a meeting of NATO foreign ministers in Belgium, says many of the same threats to democracy still exist.
This is once again being challenged by those who believe that might makes right and those who would seek to redraw the borders by force.
The secretary making a reference to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which officials say will be a major focus during the meeting. Once it returns from recess next week, Congress could vote on a foreign aid package that would send billions to Ukraine. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Los Angeles police and the FBI are investigating the burglary of up to $30 million in cash from a storage facility Sunday. The business has not been publicly identified. Police say the operators discovered the theft when they opened the vault Monday. America's listening to Fox News.
.37 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The Cook County Medical Examiner is investigating after an off-duty Chicago police officer was found dead in a home in the West Ridge neighborhood yesterday afternoon. Officers responded to a well-being check. The man, later identified as a police officer, he was pronounced dead at the scene. Right now, there's no indication of a cause of death. Chicago police and the mayor's office allege murders and other violent crimes continue to decline through the first part of the year. According to Chicago police, there have been 111 murders in the city over the first 3 months of the year. That's down 5% from the same time last year. In Springfield, the House is racing to pass bills by a Friday deadline. House Bill 4611, which would require auto insurance rates be determined by driving factors, not other socioeconomic factors, passed out of committee Tuesday. Under the stipulation, the bill would be amended later this week. State Representative Will Guzzardi, who was a spectator on Tuesday, proposed a similar bill earlier this year and is backing this one.
We've been negotiating with the industry over the course of years, and I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to find some common ground where we can agree that some of these discriminatory factors just shouldn't be in law. But if the industry doesn't agree to that, then I think that we just need to proceed and protect our consumers no matter what.
Experts looking at the bill say rates will go up for good drivers, safe communities, and senior drivers if that bill is passed. Cubs celebrating a series sweep, outlasting the Rockies 9-8 at Wrigley Field. Seiya Suzuki blasting a solo home run. White Sox and Braves rained and snowed out yesterday. They'll make that up later in the year. Blackhawks locking down one of their top prospects. Team signing forward Nick Lardis to a 3-year entry-level contract. The news is a service of the DMRE Group, a service of Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of @Properties, Christie's International Real Estate, experts in the northwest suburbs and Chicago with over $800 million in sales. You'll get the most value for your home. 708-828-0000. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
For the past 8 years, AM 560 has welcomed Dennis Prager to Chicago for a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, on Thursday, May 23rd, we welcome Dennis back for one final cigar night. Presented by Control Point Engineering. Join Dennis, Dan Proft, and Sean Thompson for a night you won't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Quick Delivery Service.
Have you saved enough? What are you going to do with Social Security? What will your taxes look like in retirement? Scott Tucker believes retirement planning should be easy, and you should be able to get all the information you need in one place. That's why Scott created the Retirement Decoded Toolkit, a comprehensive resource for your retirement. In it, you'll find a copy of his latest book, Escape Illinois: Should I Stay or Should I Go? This book will provide insight on taxes, Social Security, income, and more. To get your free Retirement Decoded Toolkit, text KIT, K-I-T, to 847-474-3888, or go to retirementdecoded.com. Now, in addition to the book, you'll also receive resources on retirement's most common concerns. Get your Retirement Decoded Toolkit from Scott Tucker right now by texting KIT to 847-474-3888, or go to retirementdecoded.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. A registered investment advisor, this is a paid placement.
All right, Father's Day, graduation season right around the corner. And if you're looking for a really great, unique gift, you got to check out the personalized receiver covers from my friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, they're available for Henry's Golden Boy and Golden Boy Silver rifles, which come in 3 calibers, 22 LR, 22 Magnum, and 17 HMR. Just go to henryusa.com and type in personalized in your search box. Well, there you're going to find a link to the product page with step-by-step instructions. They can engrave any message that you want, up to 20 words, and the process is easy, it's simple, it's affordable, and it doesn't require a gunsmith. Check out Henry's personalized receiver covers if you're looking for a great gift for dads or grads. Make sure you get their free catalog. They mail it with free decals and a list of dealers where you live. That's henryusa.com. You get the free catalog, free decals. They have 200 rifles, shotguns, revolvers to choose from, and you're going to love this company. I know I do.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg traffic center time. Kennedy right now at 30 minutes. O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange. Outbound Kennedy, an earlier accident still gumming up the works. Nagel out to Canfield. Dan Ryan inbound, slowing up from the Bishop Ford 57 split all the way up to 79th. 8094, 3 left lanes blocked due to an accident westbound between Grant and Klein. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Clouds and breezy, chilly day, periods of snow and rain this morning. Not much in the way of accumulation. Showers by the afternoon, high 42. Evening shower tonight, low 35. Clouds then sun tomorrow, the high 46. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
37 at O'Hare, 38 at Midway, 35 in light rain in Aurora. And your next news update is 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I recently wrote a piece for both Am Greatness and JohnCastNews.com on America becoming a nation of not-so-innocent bystanders. There's some exceptions to that. They're notable, and they should be profiled in hopes they may be emulated. J.K. Rowling is one. I appreciate Elon Musk's disposition and his acquisition of Twitter. But there are other champions of free minds and free markets, at least free minds, around the world in the West. And J.K. Rowling, of course, the creator of the
Harry Potter.
Yeah, wildly popular. So she went from on the state dole to a billionaire.
Good for her.
Only when there are free minds and free markets can you do that. Only when you live in a free society. Well, Scotland, where she is, Edinburgh, just passed a law, hate speech law, something that would be very popular with the left here, where stirring up hatred, quote, stirring up hatred is a crime. What stirs up hatred? Threatening, abusive, or insulting comments toward race, ethnicity, any of the following characteristics: age, disability, religion, or perceived religious affiliation, sexual orientation, transgender identity, now we're getting to it, variations in sex characteristics. It's a little bit open-ended, but yeah, so is gender identity, I suppose. Well, first let's hear from the Prime Minister, Scotland PM Humza Yousaf, on the hate speech law in Scotland.
I'm very proud of the Hate Crime Act. We have seen, I'm afraid, not just in the UK, of course Scotland, but right across many parts of the world, it's kind of rising tide of hatred against people because of their protected characteristics. And Scotland, having this hate crime legislation, protecting people, giving them that protection from hatred, while at the same time protecting people in terms of the freedom of expression, for me ensures that we've got a piece of legislation that will be enacted and implemented in a way that is absolutely balanced, and make sure it absolutely protects people in their freedom of expression, but guards people from, as I say, that rising tide of hatred we've seen far too often in our society. Police officers have been dealing with hatred for many, many decades and been doing it very sensibly indeed. So let's take the new offences, the stirring up offences that have been the focus of a lot of discourse and discussion. They've been in existence since 1986 in terms of racial stirring up offence of hatred. I believe that the new offences that have been created, they will be policed in again a very similar way, policed sensibly.
Right. Creating speech crimes, but they'll be policed sensibly. So you've got that as your fallback. It's interesting because this sensible policing that Prime Minister Youssef speaks about is going to come from where? The advocates for this law? The advocates for this law and the politicians they own or their fellow travelers these days that have been similarly lobotomized by identity politics. They want J.K. Rowling arrested, like right now.
It's ridiculous.
Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. This is a prominent trans activist celebrity named India Willoughby in Scotland.
J.K. Rowling has definitely committed a crime. I'm legally a woman. She knows I'm a woman, and she calls me a man. It's a protected characteristic, and that is a breach of both the Equalities Act and the Gender Recognition Act. She's tweeted that out to 14 million followers. If you check out the accounts that have been responding to me on the back of that, her trigger, it's absolutely disgusting, putrid, some of the worst abuse I've ever seen on social media. And I know I'm at the centre of it, and I might be a little bit biased.
Well,
but
what are you
it's
going
been
to do
appalling.
about this?
What am I going to do about it? Well, I've been to the police and I've reported it as an issue. I contacted Northumbria Constabulary yesterday.
So you reported J.K. Rowling
I have
to the
reported
police?
J.K. Rowling to the police for what she said, which I don't know that if that's
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. J.K. Rowling's response to all of this, to India Willoughby, to this hate speech law is, come and get me.
It would be the greatest visual ever if they went in and, excuse me, arrested her.
And
for this.
not only is she saying, come and arrest me, she's also tweeting about this law and who it protects. Scotland's Hate Crime Act comes into effect today. Women gain no additional protections, of course, but well-known trans activist Beth Douglas, darling of prominent Scottish politicians, falls within a protected category. Lovely Scottish lass and convicted double rapist Isla Bryson found her true, authentic female self shortly before she was due to be sentenced. Misgendering is hate, so respect Isla's pronouns, please. Fragile flower Kate Dolatowski, 6'5", was rightly sent to a women's prison in Scotland after conviction. This ensured she was protected from violent, predatory men. Unlike the 10-year-old girl, Katie sexually assaulted in a woman's public bathroom. Is it hate speech when you're using sarcasm? Samantha Norris was cleared of exposing her penis to two 11-year-old girls. Hooray! Unfortunately, she was then convicted for possession of 16,000 images of children being raped and sexually assaulted.
Dear
Be that as it may, Sam's still a lady to me. I mean, it's the sickness here. I'm talking about in Scotland political circles, Irish political circles, English political circles, America's political circles. You think we're any different? We just have the First Amendment and a couple hundred years of jurisprudence working to our benefit for now. More J.K. Rowling. Scottish woman and butcher Amy George abducted an 11-year-old girl while dressed in female clothing. No idea why this was mentioned in court. Of course she was wearing women's clothing. She's a woman. Amy took the girl home and sexually abused her over a 27-hour period.
Sick.
Just documenting the cases, just telling the stories. But most women aren't axe toters or sex offenders, so let's talk role models. Gilia Valentino in red, who is, looks like about, 6 foot, 190-pound bald dude.
You ain't a lady unless you're 180.
Gilia Valentino wanted to play on the women's team because of sisterhood, validation, and political visibility. Naturally, she was given some boring cis girls place. Yay for inclusion. I mean, Rowling is just relentless on this. Ridul Wadawa, head of Scottish Rape Crisis Center, says sexual violence happens to bigoted people as well. She has no gender recognition certificate, but was still appointed to a job advertised for women only. Time to be challenged on your prejudices, rape victims. Monroe Bergdorf isn't just a pretty face, public campaigner for children's charity until safeguarding concerns were raised. She was appointed UN Women's first ever UK champion. What makes a woman has no definitive answers, says Monroe. Great choice, UN Women. This just goes on and on and on, as we've seen. And now, by the way, you may have noticed this, and I just can't wait for it to come to Chicago, to Cook County, to the state of Illinois. We're certainly not going to be upstaged by Sacramento, are we? Sacramento, the capital of the state of California, is now a sanctuary state. No, not for illegal migrants, but yes, for illegal immigrants, of course.
Sanctuary for who?
No, but this is the first in the nation. I can't believe they beat Chicago to the punch. How embarrassing for us. First in the nation, sanctuary city, I should say, in this case, for trans.
Oh, my God.
Meet Sacramento councilwoman Katie Valenzuela on making Sacramento a sanctuary city for trans.
Similar to how we've declared ourselves a sanctuary city for immigrants and asylum seekers, we are directing city staff not to spend time with complying with enforcement actions from other states. This is really oriented towards other jurisdictions, cities and states outside of California who are currently or have already taken steps to restrict gender affirming care.
Yeah, and Margot from the Democrat Socialists of Sacramento is ecstatic about it.
Hi, everyone. Hello, my name is Margot.
Hi, Margot.
I am the co-chair of the Sacramento Democratic Socialists of America. I'm so proud of our organization to bring this resolution forward, as well as I just want to ask if all the organizers in this room here tonight, if you can give yourself a huge round of applause.
Just hug yourselves. Yeah.
Give yourself a round of applause for making Sacramento a sanctuary for trans. So, you know, in the event that you've got, I don't know, you got a parent that doesn't want to put you on puberty blockers or put you under the knife, something of that sort, well, you can go to Sacramento and be cared for by the city.
So if mom won't let you remove your breasts, just go there, right? Get it done.
Yeah, I mean, so they'll come for J.K. Rowling, and then,
they're going to come for you. Well, they'll come for your kids.
Well, they're going to come in Scotland, they're going to come for groundskeeper Willie. He's not having it.
Okay, Skinner. That's the last time you'll slap your Willie around.
Yeah, well, he better watch himself. So this innocent bystander thing, though, and J.K. Rowling is the counterexample. I'd like to hear from the gentleman out there. You ready to stand up? Ready to challenge other men, alleged men within your social circles to stand up and say, dudes don't belong in the sport that my girl is playing, that my daughter is playing, that my sister is playing? Oh, yeah, dudes, we're not doing that.
Well,
and they're not coming into the girls' bathroom either. We're going to protect women's private spaces. We're going to recognize them. And we're not going down this rabbit hole with you. Actually, we've gone down through silence, far enough already. It's time to climb out.
We're just changing all the rules for, 1% of the population of the United States?
Percentage doesn't matter. It's untrue. And now what they're going to do is say, as they're doing in Scotland, as you heard from that India Willoughby trans celebrity, their version of RuPaul, I guess. If you tell the truth, you get arrested.
Yeah, if you misgender trans people.
If you tell the truth, you get arrested.
Right.
So, anybody want to step up?
Well, one thing I learned when Riley Gaines came to town, and she said to say hi, by the way. She said, because we asked where were your parents and all of this, during the whole NCAA swimming championship. And she said, oh, my dad wanted to go into the locker room and take care of business. But I didn't let him because I would have ended up with him being arrested.
Yeah, well.
And she said there's other fathers there that wanted to act and go in, but they didn't do it because they couldn't control themselves.
Well, apparently they could control themselves because they didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Riley Gaines has the right term when she talks about the mediocre men out there. And I understand I didn't want my dad to go to jail. You know what, Riley? Not your call. If you got a 6'5" dude in your locker room, you don't know it. You're undressed, as was her first meeting with Leah Thomas, and you turn around and you're staring at nope. Hey, buddy, get out of my daughter's locker room now, or we're gonna have a problem. Get out of the bathroom while my daughter's in there, or we're gonna have a problem. I mean this. Where are, and we've said it before, but where are the men in this country? God calls us to be protectors. Doesn't he, or do I have that wrong? Is that misogynist?
I love it.
Let me give you another example of somebody who's not an innocent bystander on another topic, but it's the same principle. Have you seen the story about this kid at the subway in Indianapolis?
Oh, yeah.
Gabriel Pizzullo. Gabriel Pizzullo walks into the subway in Indianapolis, and he sees that the cashier is being accosted by another dude, and he's not having it.
I had heard it from outside. I had walked in, and he was visibly assaulting, throwing stuff. I believe I saw him spit at her. And how I was raised, man, you don't do that stuff. And it was kind of go time from there.
Gabriel, seen here, says he tackled Daniel Saunders to the ground as he was trying to leave. He held him down until police arrived minutes later to make an arrest.
She didn't seem like she could defend herself in any such way. And I was afraid that he was either leaving to get something to harm her. She had said that he had threatened to kill her. I did combat sports for quite a while. So I was completely controlling. I didn't want to punch him or anything. I didn't want to hurt him too bad. So I just held him, man.
The manager is grateful that someone was there to keep his employees safe.
Luckily, he was here at the right time in the right place, and I'm very thankful that my employees weren't damaged.
And he's calling Gabriel a hero.
Definitely a hero. Like, you don't have to be an ordinary person. You can be a hero anytime or anywhere, wherever you go.
But Gabriel wouldn't use that word to describe himself.
All glory to God, man, for real. And I don't feel like a hero, but I'm glad
Good for him.
Yeah, it's all on video. He was a high school wrestler, at least, as he sort of mentioned. I was in combat sports, and he just, took him to the ground and held him there, just as he described.
I liked what he said. How I was raised.
Right.
That stuck out.
So why don't we hear more stories like that? Why don't we hear? They're just going unreported. Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of stories about, look at all the ones that J.K. Rowling posted alone. Look at all the stories that we've covered about men playing women's sports at the K through 12 and at the collegiate level, and particularly at the K through 12 level, hurting women, like physically hurting them, in addition to, of course, at the next level, taking opportunities away and potentially scholarships, because the NCAA is lorded over by a bunch of eunuchs as well. I mean, is that a problem if we issue a cri de coeur for men to start behaving like men vis-a-vis women being injured, in particular, victimized, criminally by men pretending to be women? Sean and Darian, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, my daughter is in 7th grade. She plays travel volleyball. She plays for the school volleyball, and she just started in track. It will not happen. I've told my daughter that before. I said, if there's ever a boy in that locker room, you call me. You call me immediately. I will be there. I'll drag that, whatever it is, out of that goddamn locker room in the school, and they can arrest me. I don't care, and I mean that. I sincerely mean that. It will not happen on my watch. Thank you.
Sean. And, and again, this is not advocating vigilantism. It's not advocating beating anybody up. It's advocating
promoting violence.
It's advocating exactly what I said.
Yep.
This is not an appropriate place for you. Now, you either leave or we're going to have a problem. That's a confrontation, but that is not violence.
And I don't know why so many so many men want to become women.
Michael in Arlington Heights.
Not easier.
Good morning. Why were we told for 3 years during COVID, trust science, and now it comes to this issue? Oh, forget the science when it comes to zygotes and hormones and XY chromosomes.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, this is actually, I just did an interview for my podcast at Am Greatness with William Bach, who is the former general counsel for 13 years for the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. He was the lead investigator in Lance Armstrong and U.S. cycling doping scandal. And he just resigned from the NCAA Infractions Committee because of this issue. And he's representing Riley Gaines and the other athletes who are suing the NCAA under a Title IX claim. And, he says straight away, what we all know is obvious, that this is sanctioned cheating. At the baseline, this is sanctioned cheating in sports, men against women. This is sanctioned cheating, whether it's the IHSA or the NCAA. Sanctioned cheating. That's the minimum offense. And then the offenses get more severe as you consider the other ones, as we have been talking about. And everybody knows it. Charlie Baker, the former governor of Massachusetts, the head of the NCAA, he knows it. The people, as Bach says in our conversation, he'll tell you privately, yeah, it's good that you're standing up. I'm going to try and, make change from the inside. Sure you are. How's that going? It's going so well that Riley Gaines and some of her fellow whistleblowers and former competitors as well as teammates have to sue under Title IX because the NCAA is, that change from those inside players is happening at such a pace. No, it's not. They're cowards. They're cowards. They don't want to take up the politics of it. And so they're happy to sacrifice Riley Gaines and those similarly situated to protect their hindsides and to protect their status and to protect their sinecures. What kind of example is that? That's what's going on. All this, we don't know if men have an inherent... I mean, come on. No honest person believes that. And yet here we are having this conversation that we've been having for years as it keeps getting worse. Yeah, there is some pushback and there has been some pullback, but not by the NCAA, not by the International Olympic Committee, not by most school districts, including most of the school districts that you live in, that our listeners live in, I should say. So again, where is the, instead of waiting on your hind legs for something to occur, where's the proactive steps? Where are the proactive steps taken to say, no, I am going to defy, I am not going to defer 1 second longer. I'm not going to wait for something to happen to demonstrate my belief. I'm going to preemptorily espouse my beliefs, advocate for my beliefs, and challenge others to do the same.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, we'll be joined by Joakim Book, who's a writer and researcher on all things financial related. We'll talk a little bit about the impact that San Francisco $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers is already having. That's 6:36.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
37 degrees. We've had some light rain showers this morning, and the Biden administration says they have no plans to change policy toward Israel after 7 humanitarian aid workers were killed in an Israeli airstrike. Chef Jose Andreas is founder of the nonprofit World Central Kitchen.
Humanitarians and civilians should never be paying the consequences of war. This is a basic principle of humanity. At the time, this looks like it's not a war against terrorism anymore. Seems this is a war against humanity itself.
Biden in a statement saying he'll continue to push Israel to do more to protect civilians as he holds a phone call meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Judge overseeing Donald Trump's hush money case is rejecting the former president's motion to delay the start of his criminal trial in New York. Severe turbulence on Wednesday in a Southwest Airlines flight left 2 injured. Flight was headed from New Orleans to Orlando when it was diverted to Tampa. Emergency crews are still trying to reach hundreds of people in need of rescue after a major earthquake rocked eastern Taiwan. Fox's Greg Palcott.
The area is used to earthquakes, but still, this one shook a lot of people up. The quake hit just off the eastern coast of Taiwan, luckily less developed, but the damage was still dangerous and widely felt. Buildings in the main city hit by the tremor, while Lane collapsing or perched at precarious angles. It happened at rush hour local time this morning, catching a lot of people out. Rescue teams struggled to find survivors, along with the dead and injured. Well over 100 people remain missing under the rubble beneath collapsed road tunnels, hit by landslides. Strong shaking was felt as far as Taiwan's capital of Taipei, about 90 miles away.
Over 1,000 were injured, at least 10 were killed. At least 3 are dead, several injured after storms and tornadoes swept through the South and the Ohio Valley this week. 3 men are in custody, all connected to a deadly mass shooting on Chicago's west side. Ronnie Allen, Knowledge Lemons, and Lamont Dixon are charged with several offenses, including murder and attempted murder. 3 men were wounded, and a 16-year-old boy died. Chicago police are warning residents on the north, northwest, and west sides after a string of armed robberies reported in the Logan Square, Bucktown, Lakeview, Lincoln Park, West Loop, and Wicker Park neighborhoods. Armed suspects have been robbing stores and customers throughout that area. Legislation that would eliminate the tip credit in Illinois is facing opposition from the state's restaurant owners, especially mom and pop owners. Critics say the change would alter the way restaurants and similar businesses pay their employees, leading to less take-home pay for workers and increased cost for business. Sam Toya is president of the Chicago-based Illinois Restaurant Association.
If this legislation becomes law, here's what we can expect. Layoff for servers, bartenders, bussers, and runners. Fewer hours for servers and higher costs at the table for the consumer.
The group One Fair Wage says if passed, the bill would boost, they say, pay for some workers. By the way, the median tipped restaurant worker in Illinois earns over $28 an hour. If passed, over 7,000 jobs will be lost. Cubs are celebrating a series sweep after outlasting the Rockies 9-8 at Wrigley. White Sox in Atlanta rained and snowed out. The game will be made up on June 27. The news is a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They have helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says it's obvious what the left wants.
I don't even know if I care what the process is that these judges are arriving at. Whatever it is, it's flawed.
I don't care about the process. They might as well just come out and admit they don't want any rules to apply. They don't want any common sense. They don't want any justice. They want him financially and politically destroyed.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Seth Leibson for Townhall.com. It looks pretty clear that Israel Defense Forces killed several leading officials in the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in Syria. One of them, the chief of operations in the region, was the Iranian liaison to the head of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, with whom he was in daily contact. The Biden administration sent a direct communication to Iran's leadership that the U.S. had nothing to do with this. The organizations which these Iranians in Syria led are, like Hezbollah, listed as terrorist entities by our own State Department, raising the question, why would we apologize and ensure our innocence for killing terrorists? This is a regime that opens its parliament shouting death to America. Iran's Hezbollah introduced itself to the world by murdering 241 Marines in 1983, and Iranian militias have killed thousands since then, including over 1,000 Americans. Israel should be praised if they did this, and America should not be engaging the anxious propitiation with Iran for it. These are men with whom we simply cannot share the earth. I'm Seth Leibson.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I work for the New York City Fire Department. I've been using Balance of Nature for 8 years, I believe. It's been phenomenal. And I just got retired after 33 years. I work long hours, a lot of overtime. I teach at the Fire Academy. I run with the mornings. I work out all the time. And your product has been so successful for me in my regiment. I have nothing but high praise for you guys.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Politicians in Illinois have taken away your parental rights. Parents no longer must be notified before your minor daughter is prescribed hormonal birth control or receives an abortion. We need to send a message to Springfield that we will not allow the government to make decisions for our children without our parental consent. Help Parents Matter Coalition get an advisory question on the 2024 ballot about parental rights. Visit parentsmattercoalition.org to get involved now. That's parentsmattercoalition.org. Paid for by the Parents Matter Coalition.
Are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime? Journey with me, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, and my friend and colleague Mike Gallagher on the Patriots Alaska Cruise this summer. An incredible opportunity to engage with other like-minded patriots on an epic 7-day cruise over 4th of July weekend. Witness the untouched wilderness of Alaska over pristine water, all while celebrating America's past and future. June 29th to July 6th. Call 855-565-5519 or go to patriotsalaskacruise.com.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
640. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Summit Racing. SummitRacing.com. Use promo code radio for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 4/14/24. 8094 due to a much earlier accident. Still big delays. Westbound between Broadway and Klein, that accident has now been moved over to a left shoulder. In Hanover Park, report of an accident, Barrington and Tower. And in North Barrington, Route 59 is jammed up southbound at Route 22 with an accident. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Cloudy, chilly, snow and rain. High 42. Currently, clouds and 37. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So when you hear that song, Amy, what movie do you think of?
I don't think of a movie. I think about Doug Feiger, the lead singer of the Knack, and his brother's Jeffrey Feiger. Remember the attorney who represented Jack Kevorkian?
I do.
So, yeah.
Why do you think of Doug Feiger?
Because he's the lead singer of the Knack. And his brother is Jeffrey Feiger, and I think of him because I went on a date with him when I
Oh,
lived in Detroit.
there it is.
There it is, yes.
You dated Doug Feiger, the lead singer of the Knack.
No, I dated his brother, Jeffrey Feiger. Not dated, but I went on a date.
Oh, you dated the attorney?
I dated the attorney, yes.
That guy's a douche.
Well, that's why I just went on one date, one and done.
It's not even a
It was
very
just
good,
lunch.
He's not even a very good attorney. Wow.
Well, what movie do you think of? Or past loves do you think of?
Oh, My gosh. Playing 6 Degrees of Jeffrey Feiger.
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'm thrown back.
Why? It's
And which one of them is dead now?
Doug Feiger from The Neck.
How did he die?
I don't know, but he died a while ago.
Is he older than Jeffrey?
No, he's younger than him. I think he had maybe he had cancer. I'll find out.
My gosh, how old are you? You're so old.
What
that
do you mean?
Ex-boyfriend's younger brothers are dying. Good grief. No, the movie is. I mean, you're Gen X, sort of. Baby boomer? Are you baby
I am
boomer?
not a baby. No, I'm Gen X. I'm not a baby boomer. Nice try.
Gen X. What was one of the Gen X anthems in terms of the cinema? I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Winona Ryder.
Stranger Things.
That's a little too current, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Winona Ryder and Ethan Hawke.
Oh, duh. Can I have a
Winona
lifeline?
Ryder and Ethan Hawke and Ben Stiller.
Meet the Parents. Oh my God.
Again, a little too recent to be an anthem for Gen Xers, a coming of age anthem for Gen Xers.
Just help a sister out.
Reality Bites.
Oh, okay.
I think we need to make a Reality Bites segment to pass on what we learned from such classics. I'm being a bit facetious about that, as Reality Bites, to the younger generations, because reality is biting them too. And we go back out to San Francisco. San Francisco, employees at Foster's Freeze, which apparently is some sort of fast food joint out there. I'm not familiar with it. Don't spend a lot of time there, only to play golf. Employees were surprised to learn
What happened?
that this exciting $20 minimum wage isn't so exciting after all. Fox affiliate there reporting.
Yeah, Monty. Former employees tell me that at first they thought it was an April Fool's joke, but that quickly changed when their boss handed them their final check.
Ooh.
I was so caught off guard. We had no type of notice, no type of warning even. I mean, the owner had told me Happy Easter.
Employees at Foster Freeze in Lemoore say they're now out of a job.
We had gotten a text in the group chat that we were shutting down, and I completely thought it was an April Fool's joke.
Turns out he wasn't the only one. Did you guys think that this was an April Fool's joke?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I thought, like, you must be joking. You must be playing with me.
But this was no joke.
By the time I got here, there was people like in uniforms ready to start their day, not knowing that that would be their last check.
Monica Navarro, the former assistant manager, says when she got to the restaurant in the morning, the locks were being changed and employees were handed their final check.
I had walked in and he had just immediately was like, you guys are out of a job. Like, I'm sorry.
While we were there at the Foster Freeze restaurant, owner Lauren Wright was walking out. I tried to get a statement.
I think he's going to take off before we even get a chance to talk to him. Excuse me, Lauren?
But he quickly drove off.
See ya.
Moments later, I gave him a call.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
He did not answer, but did send a text saying
Great
in
reporting.
part, I couldn't survive the mandated wage increases. Last thing I ever wanted was to close down. But by Friday night, I knew I was most likely not going to be able to stay open, but I didn't want to ruin their Easter Sunday.
Yeah, he added more in the text message that she didn't read, that Daffy reporter. The owner of Foster's Freeze, small businesses can't survive 120% plus minimum wage increase over the last 10 years. We are all more broke than we were 10 years ago. It's clear raising minimum wage isn't helping. I'm sad to see my employees off, and sad to have to let more of them go. And he goes on to basically say, look, I can't make the numbers work. I tried to make the numbers work up until the very end of its effective date, but I can't make it work. Reality Bites. For more on matters economic, reality, Joachim Book joins us, writer, researcher, editor on all things money, finance, and financial history. Joachim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here, man, as always.
The kids are shocked to learn that wage setting by government fiat has some downsides.
Yeah, it's a shocker, isn't it? Like, you can't just mandate everybody to earn as much money as you want them to make. There is some economic reality and some fundamental at the base of it.
Well, right, and so we see this play out over and over again because populist politicians say, well, we're going to, and we have this going on in Chicago right now. Mike Scott was just reporting on it in the news. We're going to mandate a baseline for tipped workers that is going to result in tipped workers making less hourly than they do now when they have a lower minimum wage and people are more socialized to tip. And we saw this happen in Seattle. And actually, reality biting, once servers felt the impact of lower take-home pay, they revolted against the measure that they had supported, increasing the minimum wage. But it's just very difficult, I guess, to get people to internalize these basic concepts in economics, no matter how many times they play out in reality.
Yeah, definitely. We tend to think we tend to be a little bit schizophrenic about things. Like as workers or in our professional lives, we think of prices and wages, higher prices as a good thing, right? And then we leave work, we take off our uniforms or go home for the day, we come back home as consumers, and we want exactly the opposite. We want low prices, and for some reason there is not always a connection there, and so when you use government force, you use mandates like this to increase the wage by decree, even though it's not supported by the economic fundamentals. You have all sorts of other consequences, part of which is usually that low wage earners run the margin of the minimum wage limit. They lose their job, or they lose fringe benefits, or they have to work harder, more intense, or things like that. Like, the economy corrects itself. There are underlying fundamentals. You can't just mandate that people earn more money because you think they would have a better life if they do.
You had a piece over at the American Institute for Economic Research that was reminiscent to me of P.G. O'Rourke's book from like 30 years ago called Eat the Rich.
Yeah.
And you're right, eating the rich won't feed the beast. But again, like the minimum wage, and despite the fact that the top 1% pay an increasing majority percentage of all income taxes, for example, you still have the millionaires and billionaires not paying taxes, and we're going to make millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share, so that you are not overtaxed, you middle income and lower income families. That's the political line that you've heard from the left for, I don't know, my entire life.
Yeah, and it comes back over and over and over, right? You want to mandate something into being. For instance, like with the minimum wage that you just mentioned, but also with the rich. We tend to think of the rich as this endless source of wealth that we can just tap as much as we want. And when you start looking at it, like, the rich are already paying so much in taxes in America. Even from the numbers from CBO, from this Congressional Budget Office, and other like well-respected sources, to look at these numbers, it's like the bottom 60% of Americans don't really pay any taxes on net. Like, they pay taxes, but they get back more from the federal government than they pay in. And when you look at what the top million American households, so the richest of the richest, the taxes that they pay basically bankroll the entire federal government.
Yeah, I mean,
in addition to debts and stuff. We are not taxing the poor people. We're already incredibly progressive in our tax system in America.
I mean, it's one of those things you'd love to survey the American people and have them guess what percentage of total income taxes the top 1% pay. I said majority, but it's an increasing plurality, although this is a few years old, so it may be approaching the majority now. But in 2021, the richest 1% paid 46% of all income taxes. That's up from 33% of all income taxes just 20 years earlier. So you've seen an increase in the percentage of what the richest 1% pay of total income taxes by about a third in 20 years. That's pretty significant. I mean, we always talk about making the tax system more progressive, and it's regressive and so on and so forth. But the income tax is in the United States is now more progressive than in most of the West.
Yeah, it's definitely catching up to a lot of the Europeans. Like the joke is that Americans are approaching Scandinavian welfare state taxation levels, but they're not getting the benefits that the Scandinavian countries are getting from their welfare states. So you get the worst of the both deals, right? You get taxed a lot of money, but you don't see much for it. So yeah, they're definitely closing. There used to be a gap, historically speaking, between European countries that were more high taxed and Americans being taxed at a lower rate, more freedom, more liberty. That gap is closing rapidly, and there's increasingly harder to see a difference between America and what we used to think of as socialist European countries in terms of how they look at their fiscal rules and taxation.
What do you think is is the income tax, the estate tax, what's the most destructive tax in terms of wealth, capital formation and wealth creation, do you think?
Oh, for sure, the inflation tax. So when we print money, we're basically expanding the dollar supply, which means prices go up, and the tax, quote unquote, that's involved there is that the people who hold the money can now buy fewer things. It doesn't feel like a tax because it's like the government taking it from you. It's the store, it's the electricity bill, it's the gasoline at the gas station. But the cause isn't that the gasoline owner is, greedy and want to exploit you. It's that your dollar isn't worth as much anymore because we printed a bunch of them, or the government printed a bunch of them, and spent it into the economy. And so now the gas owner has to up his prices. And the person who loses out at the end is usually the person who holds the bank accounts or the bank notes, usually the poor.
Well,
so to me, this is everybody understands income tax. They see it on their pay slip, right? They even see the payrolls taxes that are funding the Social Security for a lot of it. We see the inheritance. They're kind of transparent. We don't see the inflation tax. We only feel the effect of it.
Yeah, and it's we spend a lot of time talking about it at the grocery store in particular, but I mean it manifests itself in all sorts of indirect ways that maybe a lot of people don't consider, don't connect the dots. Yeah. Mortgage, credit card, auto loan, all of these things where you're paying more in interest for the things that you want or that you need to finance.
Yeah, totally. And there's something to do with we call it bracket creep in economics, where your income increases, but not in real terms. All the prices went up, and so your income went up. And then you jump income brackets because the bracket adjustments aren't always increased in line with prices. So more people now end up in a higher bracket and pay a higher rate of taxes, even though they don't make more real income. That's a sneaky way in which you can increase your tax bill as well.
Yeah, everything about the state is sneaky. Joachim Book, writer, researcher, editor on all things money, finance, and financial history. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
A pleasure to be here. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-353-2973 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts: knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Brandon Tatum weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Charlie Kirk at 7. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
AM 560, The Answer.
Just on that California minimum wage.
Yeah.
In California, entry-level pay for jobs, $15 an hour plumber. Truck driver, $15 an hour. There's a posting for a entry-level electrician in L.A. Starting pay $22 to $25 per hour, 3 years required. Putting in some context around $20 mandated minimum wage for fast food workers.
Police officers, $26 an hour, and teachers, $24 an hour. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Chiefs fans reject subsidizing the Chiefs, 707.
It's now 7 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
Biden and Bibi. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. President Biden has what could be a tense phone call scheduled with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today.
The conversation between the president and prime minister will be the first since an Israeli airstrike killed several humanitarian aid workers this week in Gaza. The president described outrage over the incident. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says that does not signal a shift in U.S. support for Israel.
We are working very closely with them. We will continue to work closely with them to make sure they can defend themselves, but also that they do it in a way that is in keeping with the highest standards of the law of armed conflict.
President Biden has warned Netanyahu against a ground invasion of Rafah in southern Gaza, where more than 1 million civilians are seeking refuge. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A judge in New York denies former President Trump's request to delay his criminal trial until the Supreme Court answers the question of presidential immunity in a federal criminal case. Jury selection for the trial related to business records and hush money payments is scheduled to start April 15th. The Northeast turn for a storm that's been moving across the country this week.
After several days of severe weather, including destructive tornadoes, hurricane-force winds, flooding rainfall, and snow traveling across the country, this energy from that system will help strengthen a nor'easter that is continuing to bring strong winds, the possibility of power outages, along with heavy rain and feet of snow, especially for New England and northern New York. In the wake of this storm, temperatures have plummeted 10 to 20 degrees below average. Gusty winds will continue to cause blowing snow and possibly whiteout conditions, as well as coastal flooding.
Fox senior meteorologist Janice Dean. Michael Dwayne Smith is scheduled for execution today in Oklahoma. He shot and killed 2 people in 2002, one in an apartment, one in a convenience store when he was 19, a member of a gang. He says he's innocent and was hallucinating on drugs when he confessed. America's listening to Fox News.
37 degrees. Skies are gray at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Police are investigating after someone shot a fast food worker through a drive-through window in the city's Chatham neighborhood overnight. According to Chicago police, the 20-year-old victim, a woman, was transported to the University of Chicago Medical Center in fair condition. The visitation and funeral for a fallen officer, Deputy Christina Musil, will be held this afternoon. Musil was killed last Thursday when police say a truck ran off the road and crashed into the back of her squad car. Nathan Sweeney of DeKalb has been charged with reckless homicide and DUI in connection with the 35-year-old's death. In Springfield, the House is racing to pass a set of bills by Friday. House Bill 4611 would require auto insurance rates be determined not by driving factors, but by more socioeconomic factors. Passed by the committee on Tuesday under the stipulation the bill would be amended later this week. State Representative Will Guzzardi was a spectator on Tuesday. He proposed a similar bill and is now backing this one.
We've been negotiating with the industry over the course of years, and I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to find some common ground where we can agree that some of these discriminatory factors just shouldn't be in law. But if the industry doesn't agree to that, then I think that we just need to proceed and protect our consumers no matter what.
The Illinois Insurance Association say they are opposed to the original bill, saying they don't look at socioeconomic factors like race. The industry does say they occasionally look at credit scores. Experts say rates will go up for good drivers, safe communities, and senior drivers. Another business loss under the Pritzker administration. The Quaker Oats factory in Danville is permanently closing. Company officials confirming the closure will take place on June 8, leaving 500 employees without work. Crews hope to restore power to thousands across northern Wisconsin today. Folks around Green Bay may be the hardest hit in the state. Thousands remain without power in Appleton as well. Residents in Door County tell us this morning almost the entire peninsula is without power. Heavy spring snow and 60-mile-an-hour winds knocked down power lines. Cubs beat the Rockies 9-8. Sox and Braves were rained and snowed out. The news, a service of In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr. Now heard Sunday morning at 6:30 right here on AM 560, The Answer. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
For the past 8 years, AM 560 has welcomed Dennis Prager to Chicago for a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, on Thursday, May 23rd, we welcome Dennis back for one final cigar night. Presented by Control Point Engineering. Join Dennis, Dan Proft, and Sean Thompson for a night you won't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Opum Tax Advocates and attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
In a big city like Chicago, we all know that there are challenges, especially for children. But behind the staggering statistics we often hear about, there are real kids who need support to overcome these barriers. That's what By the Hand Club for Kids is all about. By the Hand Club for Kids is a faith-based, nonprofit organization serving children in some of Chicago's most under-resourced neighborhoods, places like Austin, Englewood, Cabrini Green, and Altgeld Gardens. By the Hand Club for Kids runs after-school programs for children that nurture their minds, their bodies, and their souls. Right now, By the Hand Club for Kids is serving nearly 1,800 children, and we need your help. Your one-time gift of just $120 will provide a day of after-school programming for 2 children. Or you can become a club champion and give a monthly gift of just $40, which will provide for 8 children in the next year. Give that gift today by going to bythehand.org/radio. That's bythehand.org/radio.
All right, Father's Day, graduation season right around the corner. And if you're looking for a really great, unique gift, you got to check out the personalized receiver covers from my friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, they're available for Henry's Golden Boy and Golden Boy Silver rifles, which come in 3 calibers, 22 LR, 22 Magnum, and 17 HMR. Just go to henryusa.com and type in personalized in your search box. Well, there you're going to find a link to the product page with step-by-step instructions. They can engrave any message that you want, up to 20 words, and the process is easy, it's simple, it's affordable, and it doesn't require a gunsmith. Check out Henry's personalized receiver covers if you're looking for a great gift for dads or grads. Make sure you get their free catalog. They mail it with free decals and a list of dealers where you live. That's henryusa.com. You get the free catalog, free decals. They have 200 rifles, shotguns, revolvers to choose from, and you're going to love this company. I know I do.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Balance of Nature makes a difference in my well-being and how I feel and everything. It's true. It makes a difference. If you take Balance of Nature, you have a happy day because you just feel a little better. It's like a restaurant in New Orleans. Her famous saying was, when you come to our restaurant, you leave a little happier than when you got here. And that's what Balance of Nature does. It lets your day be a little happier than it would be without the Balance of Nature.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:08 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. 8094 still slowing up westbound due to a much earlier accident between Klein and Kennedy. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, an accident just being cleared northbound at the Oak Street curve. Slow traffic from Chicago. I-57, here's stop and slow inbound between Halstead and the Ryan Merge. Ryan now 25 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Clouds and breezy, chilly day, periods of snow and rain this morning. Not much in the way of accumulation. Showers by the afternoon, high 42. Evening shower tonight, low 35. Clouds, then sun tomorrow, the high 46. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
37 right now. Next news, 7:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know, I'm still trying to get over your relationship with Dr. Death's lawyer, Jeffrey Feiger.
Why? What's so perplexing about that? I lived in 7 different states. I've met a lot of different people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
We didn't kiss or anything. It was just lunch.
Please, I don't need details.
Well, I met him on a plane on the way to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
It was back in the day, back in the 90s, yes. And he ended up, he was at the Phoenician. I was at the Biltmore. So I went over to the Phoenician.
Sure, of course.
You know how this
Two
goes.
upwardly mobile, beautiful young people.
His place or mine. I'm like, let's go to the Phoenician because I'd never been there before. So, yeah, it was lovely. We had a lovely time. And I realized his nails were prettier than mine. His eyelashes were prettier than mine. He had a facial. Like, he was a pretty person. You know, like
I know
guys that are
don't know.
metrosexual.
I remember when he was Dr. Death's attorney and he was public. He's sort of like a paunchy middle-aged guy.
Yeah, he cleaned up his act a little bit. If you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Had a nice manicure.
Did you participate in any ritual killings with Dr. Death?
No.
So no seniors were sent to their eternal reward on your.
No. He didn't share any secrets with me. No, nothing like that.
All right. Okay. It's odd. So Edward James Olmos, Jeffrey Feiger.
Okay.
Not exactly A-listers. Well, Olmos is pretty good, actually. I mean, Olmos is. Admiral
He's a
Adama
nice guy.
from Battlestar Galactica, and obviously Castillo from Miami Vice. I do have to give props to, and Jaime Escalante.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have to give him his due. The competitive eater at Iowa, not as much.
No.
Yeah.
You haven't seen a picture of him though.
He was a pretty person too.
No,
Mm.
he was not. He was a
His
blue
personality?
collar. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fun guy.
Yeah,
I
oh,
mean,
I'm
really.
sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a guy you want to bring to a
What
party.
What isn't fun about watching a guy eat 40 hot dogs in a sitting?
It was chicken wings. He had 95.
95?
He won the chicken wing contest. Thanks.
Steer clear
I'll get a
of
list of
him
the ladies
for
you
that.
dated, and we can compare notes.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not a celebrity like you were. I
Oh,
wasn't
right.
traveling in
Right,
those
right.
circles to Hollywood.
Dr. Death camps.
Yeah, yes, right. Cause celebs, I guess. All right, so Oh, we got a email about our previous discussion because we're going to talk a little Chicago again here. Previous discussion about the Gimme Dat housing complexes that are coming to ghettoize LaSalle Street as part of this taxpayer finance redevelopment by BLM Brandon. While listening to your discussion on my way to work about the financial district this morning, I heard you discussing the plans for more affordable housing in the Loop. It's not just there, and maybe you've already discussed it, but 400 units of affordable housing for the homeless being completed near Dearborn in Chicago at the former YMCA, Lawson House.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. No, they just rolled that out. They look nice.
Yeah, they do.
We'll
They've
see
been working on that for a while.
well, about a decade or so.
Okay, wait, is the Jane Byrne interchange, is that complete by any chance?
Yeah.
I just want to check.
Yeah. That
What about
was
that bike path by Lake Point Towers? Is that
the flyover.
the flyover that
Oh,
costs,
yeah.
what, $34 million?
Well, it's
Best-
wonderful.
Best block of land ever. I mean, literally, you blink and you're through that area.
Yeah, no, but he's right. This emailer, the ribbon cutting was just held. This week, 100-year-old building, Chicago Avenue in Dearborn, the Lawson House. 406 affordable studio apartments.
400. Wow.
It was transformed, a 10-year journey to transform this 100-year-old building into a single-room affordable housing complex with 406 affordable, subsidized, studio apartments.
SROs, baby.
The developer bought the building for $1 a decade ago. With the agreement, it would be affordable units for at least 50 years. The project cost more than $120 million with money from the state, city, and loans from private banks. Of course. Another wonderful public-private partnership to ghettoize River North. Just as we're going to ghettoize LaSalle. Remember, of course we do, and I appreciate the email, but of course we do know this, and the phrase that pays, as we discussed before, the phrase that pays, you heard it from BLM Brandon's mouth. These 4 projects, talking about LaSalle Street,
Yes.
demonstrate our shared commitment to revitalizing downtown and creating affordable housing in every single neighborhood. Can't wait, can you? All you NIMBYs in the wealthy areas. Yeah, right. Just like you NIMBYs in the wealthy areas in the suburbs.
Oh, it's coming to them.
Oh, I know.
It is coming.
But not without some opposition from those who otherwise are proponents when it's not in their hood, of course. Speaking of these sorts of gambits, this was an interesting development. We didn't talk about this, but perhaps we should in the context of the Chicago football team and one of the Chicago baseball teams. Allegedly, both are professional. Talking about what happened in Jackson County, Missouri, the election on Tuesday. Kansas City Chiefs fans said, no, we aren't going to maintain the sales tax to underwrite a new stadium for the Chiefs and the Kansas City Royals. So sort of a parallel, Chiefs and Royals, White Sox and Bears. They want a combined, $3 billion in bonds to be issued through the Sports Facilities Authority for new stadiums for both, right? This lost, wasn't that close, 78,000 to 56,000 votes. Jackson County residents voted down a new stadium for your world champion Kansas City Chiefs. Do you think Chicago would do the same for their not world champion Chicago Bears? Really interesting. Really interesting. Because the Bears staying in Chicago makes absolutely no sense.
I know. I don't get it. I don't get what the play is. I don't know if there's like a cat and mouse game with Mayor Johnson to see what incentives they'd offer, or because they bought the land in Arlington Heights.
I think this has a lot to do with Kevin Warren, the new Ted Phillips, the new president. And I think he's political left. And I think this is a political deal that he is engineering on behalf of BLM Brandon and this regime, because the deal makes no sense. Makes no sense financially, and I don't know where the McCaskies are. There's got to be some McCaskey that's in the mix that can do some simple math or get some consultant to explain to him that building a Bearsville in Arlington Heights in the suburbs where most of your season ticket holders are is going to be a mecca that triples the value of your franchise, and taking on a fight downtown with the Friends of the Park, the footprint that you're talking about, the dealing with the city, no matter how the sweetheart deal is, no matter how much you can cajole the political class to underwrite this, it just doesn't have the same. I mean, what are they going to do? Knock down McCormick Place? The deal downtown doesn't make any sense. And what are they going to do with Soldier Field?
Well, they can't tear down those columns.
I know. So what are they going to do with it?
They said that there's talk of keeping the open space for the public.
Affordable housing?
No.
Oh.
And then underneath, building a parking garage. Got to get some Georgia Tech engineers on that one, huh?
Maybe get George Lucas back on the blower and see if he wants to put the Lucas Museum right in the middle of Soldier Field.
It's so goofy. So where the parking lot is where people tailgate, they're going to build, and connected to the old McCormick Place, that's where they're going to build the stadium, allegedly, supposedly.
Yeah, but
it doesn't make. You're right. They would have to tear down the old McCormick Place.
I don't know, but I mean, I just don't understand how that makes sense if you're trying to maximize the value of the franchise for the owners. And you would think the owners would be interested in value maximization, particularly if, what has long been assumed is true, that when Virginia McCaskey passes, they sell the team. So, I mean, I hope it's not soon, but I mean, she is in her late 90s.
Right. Don't.
So it's just the point. But the point is, how does this make business sense? So if it doesn't make business sense, there's something else at play, right? I mean, particularly in Chicago, there's some political angle here, and I know, they're not getting the property tax relief from the Village of Arlington Heights that they want, and they could get, $2 billion from, or maybe more, from essentially the state and the city, but I mean, that's still a big proposition, and in terms of the private financing piece of it, and then what exactly the projected valuation of the team would be, and it's still a huge pain to get to any sort of new Soldier Field in this alleged footprint. Not to mention, as I said before, the prospect of litigation and so forth. That's why I look at Kevin Warren and Reinsdorf. What are they going to do with the old Comiskey, the current one?
Turn it into affordable housing.
Right. Yeah, that's why I keep
a big tent city to move everybody from Roosevelt and Dan Ryan, move them over there.
No, the Chicago Fire are going to play at Soldier Field.
No,
the Chicago Fire are going to play at Comiskey Park. They're going to split their time. They're going to split their games between the two. Yeah, right.
They're going to have concerts. No, they're not.
Yeah,
I mean,
open air concerts. Well, okay, so you get
a great one in December.
4 months of concerts.
I know. I mean, it's sad. I feel bad for the people in Bridgeport, especially the few bars and establishments that are around there. But
I feel bad for them with the team there.
Right, the team. Did you see the game yesterday? There's nobody. There's maybe 5-10 people.
Did they find a first base coach yet?
They did. Yeah. That's pretty embarrassing.
They should. I mean, this is where you need creativity too in the ownership, but you're not going to get creativity from the ownership of these sports franchises in this town. You need like you need to call Mike Veck is what you need to do and say, we'll sell you the Sox for $1, like we sell buildings in Chicago for $1 and give you a decade. We'll give you here, take the team for $1 and make it fun to go to the game, even if they're losing. Dress them up in pajamas again.
Well, they try with a different menu all the time.
Well, the food's good there, but you got to do like an audition to be the first base coach, since they can't seem to find anybody to. I don't know. I mean, does Eddie Goodell have a relative that can go up and draw walks? You got to do something. I don't know. It's a failure of imagination here. The only time the imagination of the sort of collective power structure in Chicago does not fail is when they imagine all the wonderful things they can do with other people's money. It can be very interesting to see if they can woo I think, a very pliable political class in Springfield. I mean, because all those guys, I think these guys are grifters, right? And spineless too, and so they want all these mediocre. They want status. You don't think they could cajole, grease Chris Welch and Don Harmon to move the kind of money, the underwriting they want, and put that on the backs of taxpayers? I mean, you could spend billions of dollars to provide better services and underwriting to people in this country illegally who've made their way to Illinois. I mean, what's another few $1 billion on the back of Illinois taxpayers? It's just like Stacey Davis Gates. And so what?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? They're not going to do anything. If only they had the gumption of Jackson County, Missouri residents. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of U-Store It, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of U-Store It, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Dan, do you have any joint pain, any pain in your knees or hips or shoulders or back because of golf? Or
No, because I do Pilates.
Oh, and you're going to show off your washboard abs later, right?
That's right.
In the 8 o'clock hour?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're not like Dan and if you're like other millions of Americans, a lot of us have joint pain due to arthritis or an injury. And guess what? Surgery, you don't have to do it. You don't have to take steroids or drugs because that's no longer your best option. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatments that deliver lasting results. We're talking natural biologics, using your body's own power to repair and restore damaged tissue. Think about it. When you cut your hand, eventually it does heal. And QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkupp. Dr. Scheinkupp is a pioneer in this field. With 20 years of clinical work, research, teaching, and publishing, he wants to get you relief with a needle, not a knife. So call QC Kinetics now to learn more about some exciting options. It's a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Again, no surgery, no steroids, no drugs. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Appointments are now available on Saturdays. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
All right. Balance of Nature. Can't wait to take it. I'm going to take it early. I gave some to Justin yesterday. Justin, do you want to thank me publicly for making your life better?
Thank you. I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah. And why do you like Balance of Nature?
I'm not the same without it. It helps kill that midday slump that I always feel.
Yes. And you look good. Your skin looks good. Have you noticed, Dan? Have you checked out Justin lately?
Yeah, I was about to say you look radiant. Sorry, I forgot to say that.
And that's because Balance of Nature, 6 capsules a day, and voila, you'll get to the fruits and veggies that you need because you're not eating enough on your own, and that is where Balance of Nature comes in. The number to call to start your journey to better health is 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss. Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay, can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large envelope to Northbrook?
We can deliver that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you...
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and tracking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at renofy.com/notices. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
John, I'm putting my foot down. We can't put off renovating this house any longer. Our kitchen is so small. We need to finish the basement for the kids, and don't even get me started on the bathrooms.
Honey, renovating is so expensive. We can't do all those projects.
With Renify, we can.
What's Renofy?
Renify loans are a new type of home equity loan only for homeowners doing renovations. We can get up to $500,000 and keep our existing low mortgage rate locked in.
With Renofy, we can do everything on our renovation list and we don't have to refinance?
That's right. Renify loans are the only home equity loan that use the after renovation value.
Just what we need. How do we get started with Renify?
Just send them a text.
Text BASEMENT to 323232 and see if you qualify for up to $500,000 to renovate your home with Renify. Unlock the future value of your home right now to get the money you need without refinancing. Text the word BASEMENT to 323232 to get started today. Text BASEMENT to 323232.
NMLS number 1802847. Not all borrowers or properties qualify. Loan terms apply.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, we got a text message. Dan and Amy, the Bears are just playing along, knowing full well the Friends of the Park will never let them build on the lake. When that fails, they can say that, hey, we're sorry, we couldn't get it done. Can you please go with us to the governor and get some cash to build in Arlington Heights?
Maybe. I mean, it's possible that Kevin Warren is playing politics that way, knowing that they'll ultimately end up there. But, it'd be nice if just once somebody would say, one of these billionaires who owns these sports franchises, you know what, maybe it would be nice to have somebody else to force taxpayers to help us finance this. It's a private business. We can do it ourselves, and we're going to do it ourselves. It's just not right. There's always so worried about ill will when it comes to political ruling class. How about ill will when it comes to taxpayers? And how about even if the taxpayers are so lobotomized they don't even know when they should be delivering ill will, like in Chicagoland? We just do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. How about just somebody that's principled and says, there's no reason that we should be getting special deals that the mom and pop business doesn't get from their local or state government. That would be refreshing, wouldn't it? I know. That's a fantasy land. I hear you.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, I'll tell you what. The presumptive incoming state's attorney.
Yeah.
You've
got every Irish name for her.
Eileen O'Neill, O'Malley, O'Shea, Madigan, O'Connor, Walsh, Boyle, Kelly, Byrne, Cullerton, Burke. That incoming.
Yeah.
Presumptive Cook County State's attorney. We got a couple more reservations for the home for wayward youth and silly kids that she wants to stand up. We'll start there with John Garrido, former Chicago police lieutenant, at 7:37.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
7:32 on AM 560, The Answer. We have 36 degrees and cloudy skies. Emergency crews are still trying to reach hundreds of people in need of rescue after a major earthquake rocked eastern Taiwan. Nearly 700 are stranded or trapped, 1,000 injured, 10 were killed. President Biden plans to speak with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today.
The conversation between the president and airstrike killed several humanitarian aid workers this week in Gaza. The president described outrage over the incident. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says that does not signal a shift in U.S. support for Israel.
We are working very closely with them. We will continue to work closely with them to make sure they can defend themselves, but also that they do it in a way that is in keeping with the highest standards of the law of armed conflict.
President Biden has warned Netanyahu against a ground invasion of Rafah in southern Gaza, where more than 1 million civilians are seeking refuge. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
An investigation by the FAA this morning is underway after a Southwest Airlines flight was forced to make an emergency landing due to severe turbulence. A passenger and flight attendant Wednesday were transported to an area medical facility after the plane landed in Tampa. Police are investigating after someone shot a fast food worker through a drive-through window in the city's Chatham neighborhood overnight. According to Chicago police, the victim, a 20-year-old woman, was transported by the Chicago Fire Department to the University of Chicago Medical Center in fair condition. Visitation and the funeral for a fallen police officer, Deputy Christina Musil, will be held this afternoon. Musil was killed last Thursday when police say a truck ran off the road and crashed into the back of her squad car. Nathan Sweeney of DeKalb is charged with reckless homicide and DUI in connection with the 35-year-old's death. Cubs are celebrating a series sweep, outlasting the Rockies 9-8 at Wrigley. Seiya Suzuki led the offense after blasting a solo home run and going 3 for 5. White Sox game against the Braves has been rained and snowed out. It will be made up on June 27. The news, a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka knows why they keep coming for Trump.
They want him in prison or worse. Why? Because it's clear. If the election were free and fair and if it occurred today, it would be a 49-state blowout. They know that if this man comes back and he can only serve one more term, he doesn't have to compromise with anyone. Therefore, he will be able to drain the swamp once and for all.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Suburban Welding and Steel is your local welding, fabricating, and repair shop where service and quality is number one. Their dedicated team of experts can repair a job on site or in their shop located in Franklin Park. They have the machinery needed to get your project completed with the craftsmanship and precision so you can get back to business. Suburban Welding and Steel services more than just the manufacturing industry. They also service the food industry, heavy equipment, trucking, airports, and railroads. Walk-ins are also welcome, so if you need it welded, repaired, fabricated, or modified, Suburban Welding and Steel will do the laser cutting, machining, forming, and plate rolling for you. Or they have the materials you need in stock and ready for the purchase. And if you know a hardworking person looking for a career in the trade, Suburban Welding and Steel is looking to add to their team of experts. Visit suburbanweldingandsteel.com. To see the full story on what they can do for you, SuburbanWeldingandSteel.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at ReliefFactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com. Be the next success story.
At Progressive, we know money can't buy you happiness, but money did help you buy an RV, which means an excuse from working Saturday with your insufferable coworker, Dave. So money is helping you listen to birds chirp instead of Dave chirping about how his toddler is fluent in 3 languages. And it's also why you'll be smelling pine trees in the air, not Dave's tuna melt reheating in a microwave. So save money by bundling your RV or boat insurance with home or auto from Progressive and buy more happiness, or something close to it. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
7:38, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Eden's right now a heavy 33 minutes from Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy, 67 minutes, O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. The outbound side of the Kennedy, jam solid from the Burns Circle all the way out to North Avenue. The ICAT, 64 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson brake lights, Harlem Avenue, all the way through Kedzie. And the Dan Ryan right now, 37 in, 95th into the Circle. You're delayed in the locals, 63rd up to the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy, chilly, snow and rain still this morning. High 42. Currently 36. Your next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Drake's Supermarkets, it's a big supermarket chain in Australia, and Down Under.
The Vegemite.
Yeah, put another shrimp
Ever
on the
had
Barbie.
Vegemite?
Vegemite sandwich.
Yeah, no, have you ever had Vegemite? It's pretty good.
No.
We should try it. All right, go on.
But I am a fan of
the song.
Men at Work. So Drake Supermarkets.
Yes.
They've had to go to the next stage when it comes to protecting their products from retail theft. So it's not.
How much further could people go besides ordering online?
Well, everything behind plexiglass,
Right,
like in the Walgreens, CVS's, and so on and so forth. No, they've got a bigger problem. Expensive meats that are being pilfered. So here's what they've done about it. Get ready, because when any of these Chicago politicians hear about this, they're going to mandate low jacking of your flank steaks if you're a grocery store. Just get ready.
Okay.
What we're seeing here is a first for supermarkets in Australia.
Supermarket chain Drake's, which operates 67 stores in South Australia and Queensland, will use this high-tech GPS technology to track expensive meat.
Meat theft is the #1 thing that is stolen from our supermarkets.
High-end products like Wagyu beef are put in containers fitted with the technology and tracked.
If someone leaves the store without it being detached, then that'll set off the GPS.
GPS is good for anything, yes. And the meat especially, because that's so expensive.
Supermarkets will pay $30 for each box, an investment they say is worth every cent.
I think it's terrific. I don't think people should pinch stuff anyway.
These are the thieves the supermarket is targeting. Security cameras show 2 men heading straight to the meat section to select their favourite cuts. They pile not 1 but 38 packs in a basket.
The minority is becoming more brazen in the ways they've been taking products from the stores.
The technology is currently being trialled in 2 South Australian stores. Drake's hopes to roll it out to others in the coming months.
If someone's going to steal something, they're going to steal it, and we need to make sure it's as hard as possible.
I love it. I mean, by the way, Drake's estimates they lose $12 million a year, at least they did last year, on shoplifting, so that's not nothing.
No.
So low jack in your flank steak. That's going to be the next thing. And, you know, it's good. Hey, why can't we be more like Australian grocery stores, Chicago grocery stores, your Jewels is. Huh? Low jack that beef.
That is so gross.
More on this. Pleased to be joined by John Garrido, former Chicago Police Lieutenant, 16th District, and president of the Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation, GarridoStrayRescue.org. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. I don't even think LoJack really worked well with the cars when they had it.
Well, I mean, I'm saying low jack, but this is maybe this is some advanced Australian form of GPS. But yeah. So I mean, it's not a bad idea, though. I assume Australia, which is a country that's dominated by the left for the most part, like say Chicago and Illinois. You know, if you don't have prosecutors that are going to take retail theft seriously, then you need to take matters into your own hands. So maybe that's something that should be instructive to retailers in Chicago. Just GPS everything.
And I'm sure that won't impact food costs at all.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
No, not at all.
Right. Yeah.
It just gets passed
You
right
get the
down to
device
us.
back.
Yeah.
When you're done eating, you turn it in.
So, you know, now that we have, speaking of prosecutors, now that we have a declared victor in the Marxist primary for Cook County State's Attorney with Eileen O'Neill, O'Malley, O'Shea, Madigan, O'Connor, Walsh, Boyle, Kelly, Byrne, Cullerton, Burke emerging victorious.
That was a nail biter.
Yeah. What's your take? You know, the people looking for glimmers of hope. Does she represent one in your mind? In my mind, she does not.
Well, we're always hopeful every time there's a new election, right? But I think right now we're just hoping just to get back to the days when we didn't really pay attention to the state's attorney's office. I mean, there's been so much attention on it lately because they've just been so derelict in their duties and an abject failure that you couldn't help but notice and deal with them. When I first came on back in the 90s, they weren't the roadblock. They worked with the police, and they actually, you know, charged cases, and they were easy to work with. And I think the state's attorneys have all, you know, had that, you know, same goal even as recently as last year. But we realized and learned that the person at the top does have a significant impact on how they're able to operate.
Well, do you
just
think,
like police officers.
Yeah. Do you think she's going to do what she says and, you know, change the felony amount from $1,000 to $300? And would that even make a difference?
Well, it would, but I would hope so. I mean, but I wasn't, you know, the speech that she just gave the other day saying that she shouldn't be considered the
law and order.
Crime,
yeah,
the law and order, the tough on crime. State attorney's like, whoa, wait a minute. That's the exact reason why we voted for you.
Yeah, well.
So it already sounds like she's backpedaling. I hope not. I hope that she does, you know, continue, you know, on the path that she started, and she actually does hold people accountable, and she lets these state attorneys charge these cases. And I don't know, for some reason, I don't know why. I think she will, but we don't.
Well,
Chicago never, or Cook County never ceases to disappoint. So.
Yeah, right. I mean, and she's basically telling you that she's a coward. That even if whatever she believes in her heart of hearts, and who cares, she is pandering and talking about essentially character formation as the job of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. And sounds like she wants to open a home for wayward youth and silly kids. It doesn't sound like she wants to put people behind bars. By the way,
they're supposed to be prosecutors.
And when do we get comment from her on just the day-to-day cases like this? Felons accused of luring children into a van get electronic monitoring after judge and prosecutors mistakenly believe the charges aren't detainable. Well, you can understand their confusion in these days of the Pritzker Purge law, but you know, I mean, the competency level, if that's even true, that it was a mistaken belief as opposed to just a deferential disposition to even child predators. I mean, who knows? Because the order of the day is to make sure that the inmate count at Cook County Jail is where Tony Preckwinkle wants it.
Well, I'm a glass half full guy, so I'm hoping that just the climate at the state attorney's office changes. You had a lot of experience flee from Kim Foxx, so I'm just hoping that we start getting some quality back in the state attorney's office, people that actually want to work there because they're just the climate's not so toxic, and that they'll actually work with our officers to make sure that we get these cases charged and these detention hearings, start asking for detention hearings, and put it on these judges to hold these people in custody when they're supposed to.
How are Chicago police enjoying the Biden buddies that have arrived over the last year? It turns out some of the Biden buddies aren't enjoying the other Biden buddies as much. Venezuelan migrant told police he carried a taser because there's a lot of crazy people in the loop. Another migrant told police he had a gun to protect himself from Venezuelans.
That's great.
So, I mean, it's what we said before. There's some people that come here because they're economic migrants. I get it. And there are other people that come here because they're members of international gangs and trafficking organizations and so forth. And Chicago police, your new superintendent, in addition to these these candidates for Cook County State Attorney's Office, anybody even want to dip their toe in the water that, like New York City Mayor Eric Adams did, and said, maybe we need to amend the sanctuary city designation to work with ICE when it comes to violent offenders in this country illegally, for example? No, anybody?
No,
Bueller? Bueller?
They won't do it. They will just not step on each other's toes. They have the hard line that they have to stay with, the narrative that they have to stay with, and they will ride it right off the cliff. They just won't make any changes, and that's unfortunate. And they're just going to continue just to move these migrants around. They had them in the parks, and people in the neighborhoods came out and were screaming at the mayor for that, and going down to City Hall and screaming about that. So they're taking them now out of the parks after they were in the police stations last summer. My guess is they're probably going to end up moving back to the police stations again. We'll see what happens there now that the weather is getting warm, and nobody wants that. That was just ridiculous. And no matter how much money, it's incredible the amount of money that these numbers they throw out, hundreds of millions of dollars. It never seems to filter down to the front lines. I mean, if they were to take half of that money and just hire some more police officers, that'd be a step in the right direction. But somehow all this money just goes to their friends and family, and these. I think what they spent, 60% of that $300 million went towards just the payroll for some of these places that are working in the quote unquote shelters.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
It's frustrating.
What do you think about these big plans for? I mean, since we were talking a bit earlier in the show, and you were in this fight on the Northwest Side back when you were a candidate for alderman. What do you think about BLM Brandon rolling out these big plans, make no small plans, for affordable housing? Affordable housing, every neighborhood in the city is the goal.
To me, that's another one of their talking points, right? There already is affordable housing everywhere. If a landlord has an apartment rent, and if they come in with a voucher, they get their affordable rate. They get their affordable housing. I thought the idea was to be integrated. So when you're walking down the street, you don't know that house is an affordable housing house, that apartment's an affordable housing house. You don't know. They're just integrated in the community. But when they talk about they want to set up these boxes with just all these affordable housing, that's already been proven not to work. It's even the 5150 building on Northwest Highway that they put right across the 16th District Police Station. They can go pull the stats. There's constantly stuff already going on over there, and they've only been open a few years. I can't imagine what that's going to be like 10 years from now.
Wow. How many people, low-income housing is in there? Is it the whole building?
That's 80% is affordable. Yeah, 80% is affordable, and 20% is not. So I don't know how they're doing. Renting up to 20%.
What's the the word out from the mayor's office is that violent crime is down again, quarter over quarter, first quarter of 2024 over first quarter of 2023. Murders down 5%. So, as per usual, they know what to do, and it's working.
Yeah, well, first of all, we just came out of winter, right? So things are always down at this time of year. But at the end of the day, if you look at just 2023 overall, we had 29,000 vehicles stolen. 29,000, and that's up from in the last 4 years. In 2020, there was 9,900 motor vehicles were stolen. We're up to 29,000. There were 20,000 thefts, 7,000 burglaries, 11,000 robberies. That's up 2,000 from the year before that. So there's still a lot of crime going on, and we still had over 600 people murdered and over, I think, 2,500 people shot. So these numbers are always going to fluctuate a little bit, but at the end of the day, unless they're going to really start, maybe Brandon Johnson can release some of the 130 officers that he's got on his security detail that he increased from Lori Lightfoot's detail. Maybe he can put them back out on the street, and that would.
Wait. He's 130?
Yep. 130 police officers are now assigned to that detail. When Lori had it, it was 116 officers total. He got in there and added another 15 or so officers right away, and Lori still has some of her detail. And but yeah, he's just expanding that unit. He's important.
Oh yeah, that's right. Very important people. Before we let you go, because besides being a former police lieutenant, you're also president of the Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation. I wanted to catch up with you about Thomas Martell, the 22-year-old kid from Chicago who's been charged with 4 counts of animal torture. Remember, he did horrific things to cats and then kept getting more cats. What's the latest? Have you been still attending his trials?
Yep, yeah, we're still attending. They're still going through discovery and getting continuances, so that we're they're probably still maybe another month or two out before that actually goes to trial, or they come up with some type of plan with him. But yeah, our court advocacy has been following along with a lot of other cases. We had this guy Richard Bober who tried to kick his dog to death several years ago. He skipped out, and there was a warrant for his arrest, and he just got arrested last night in the 16th District. Some of our court advocacy group actually tracked him down, and we were able to give the information to officers, and they went and picked him up. So, but yeah, Martell, his case is still pending.
I hope he's still on electronic monitoring.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? And the reason why, here's the thing. The reason why they do that is because that's going to come off of whatever sentence he gets. So he gets to hang out at home for this whole time, and then whatever sentence he gets, they'll consider that time served for the while he was on the monitoring.
Stay the course. Everything is going well. Chicago is Candide. I got it. John Garrido, former Chicago Police Lieutenant, 16th District, president of the Garrido Stray Rescue Foundation, GarridoStrayRescue.org. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The future of medicine is here at QC Kinetics. QC is the nation's leader in the most exciting revolution in pain management we've seen in decades. Regenerative medicine. If you're tired of achy joints, if your joint pain is keeping you from doing what you love, you need to call QC Kinetics today. Surgery, steroids, drugs, these are no longer your best options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatment that delivers lasting results. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Michael Scheinkupp. Dr. Scheinkupp is a pioneer in this field with 20 years of clinical work, research, teaching, and publishing. He wants to get you relief with a needle, not a knife. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Appointments now available on Saturdays. Call 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. Again, that's 312-809-5955.
It's been raining. It's been gross out here, actually, for a while. Any water in your basement, crawl space? If you have it, you don't have to live like that, because eventually that mold and that smell is going to work its way up into your living area. So call Permaseal today for a free estimate. They're the best. 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325. They'll come out and, again, give you a free estimate. Or you can go online to permaseal.net.
And paid for by America First Tax Group. Attention, if you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes significantly. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-852-3467 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-852-3467. That's 800-852-3467. Again, 800-852-3467.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
When I go out, I take a bottle of each because sometimes I end up talking to people in the restaurants here. Someone looking at them, I say, oh, this isn't a Christmas decoration, this red and green. This is my Balance of Nature. I tell people all the time, I'm happier and I feel better. I love this product. It's done so much for me, it's not even funny. And don't think I'm not talking to everybody that I know about it.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
It's Dr. David Kolbaba. Hey guys, it's not enough to manipulate your testosterone by getting those shots. Did you ever stop to ask, why is my testosterone level so low anyway? Well, if you're a Y guy like me, I've got something for you to think about. Hormone levels get skewed not with age. Hormones get skewed by poor lifestyle habits. Our male hormone test can help us find the why behind your male hormone challenges. So give us a call and get your male hormone test today. Pumping hormones into your bloodstream is not the answer, not without the many health risks associated. Stop tampering with your hormones, because if you don't, you'll probably live long enough to regret it. So from one Y guy to another Y guy, let's get her done the right way, the only way, taking more natural steps towards healthy hormone balance and performance today. It's our male hormone test. No blood, just spit. Call 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. It's Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, our friend Darvio Morrow, who's out of Cleveland and head of this FCB radio network, argues that moderate Democrats are starting to be progressives in big cities. I don't know. We'll discuss 8:08.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
An off-duty police officer found dead in a Northwest Side home. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
It could be tense. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The White House says support for Israel is unwavering, but President Biden is scheduled to speak today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about his handling of the war against Hamas in Gaza, civilian deaths, the lack of civilian aid, and the death of aid workers in Gaza.
World Central Kitchen has called for an independent investigation into the killing of 7 of its aid workers who died in Israeli airstrikes. The charity's founder says the group's cars were targeted. Israel's military leaders say a misidentification led to the strikes. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A judge denies a request to delay former President Trump's first criminal trial.
Lawyers for former President Trump asked a judge in New York to delay his criminal trial on charges stemming from alleged hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels. The trial is slated to start April 15th. But the Trump defense team is hoping to put it off until after the Supreme Court rules on the former president's immunity claims.
Fox's Jill Nato. Prosecutors recommend at least 10 years in prison each for the parents of Michigan school shooter Ethan Crumbley.
In a court filing, Oakland County prosecutors say James Crumbley failed to exercise even the smallest measure of ordinary care that could have prevented the 2021 fatal shootings of 4 Oxford high school students. Adding Jennifer Crumbley showed a chilling lack of remorse for her role, recommending they serve at least 10 years in prison. The parents of shooter Ethan Crumbley were convicted of involuntary manslaughter for failing to secure the gun that was used and ignoring signs the then 15-year-old was struggling with mental health. Their sentencing hearing is set for April 9th. Ethan Crumbley, sentenced to life in prison without parole, pleading guilty to 24 charges, including first-degree murder and terrorism. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
The number of Americans putting in new unemployment claims rose to the highest level in 2 months. Still historically low, though, 221,000, up 9,000 from the week before. America's listening to Fox News.
36 degrees, cloudy skies. 8:02 is our time on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Police are investigating after someone shot a fast food worker through a drive-through window in the city's Chatham neighborhood overnight. Chicago police say the victim, a 20-year-old woman, was transported by the fire department to University of Chicago Medical Center in fair condition. A Cook County medical examiner investigator says an off-duty Chicago police officer was found dead in a home yesterday afternoon. Officers responded to the Westridge neighborhood for a well-being check on a 54-year-old man found unresponsive along the 7400 block of North California Avenue. The man later identified as a police officer, no indication of the cause of death. Chicago police and the mayor's office allege murders and other violent crimes continue to decline according to their numbers throughout the first part of the year. According to Chicago police, there have been 111 murders in the city over the first 3 months, down 5% from the same time last year. Chicago sports, Cubs celebrating a series sweep, outlasting the Rockies 9-8 at Wrigley. White Sox, a game against the Braves, pushback, rain and snow canceling the series finale. The game will be made up on June 27. The news is delivered by Quick Delivery Service. Visit quickdelivery.com when you need same-day delivery of your routes. Ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. It's a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Gold prices rose to a record yesterday after Fed Chair Jerome Powell said recent job gains and some readings that appear to indicate progress on inflation has stalled do not change plans for reducing interest rates this year. Boeing's 737 MAX jet production appears to be even below its cap of 38 jets a month. Reuters says U.S. regulators have stepped up factory checks and workers have slowed the assembly line to clear out a backlog. Struggling electric car maker Fisker is no longer offering a forecast for its business. Fisker paused production of its Ocean SUV last month while it was looking for more funding. And Gucci's parent company, Kering, is buying a historic building in Milan's fashion district for $1.4 billion. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosolda, invested in you.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
For the past 8 years, AM 560 has welcomed Dennis Prager to Chicago for a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, on Thursday, May 23rd, we welcome Dennis back for one final cigar night. Presented by Control Point Engineering. Join Dennis, Dan Proft, and Sean Thompson for a night you won't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Liberty Cigar Company.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
When I go out, I take a bottle of each because sometimes I end up talking to people in the restaurants here. Someone looking at them, I say, oh, this isn't a Christmas decoration, this red and green. This is my Balance of Nature. I tell people all the time, I'm happier and I feel better. I love this product. It's done so much for me, it's not even funny. And don't think I'm not talking to everybody that I know about it.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
All right, Father's Day, graduation season right around the corner. And if you're looking for a really great, unique gift, you got to check out the personalized receiver covers from my friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, They're available for Henry's Golden Boy and Golden Boy Silver rifles, which come in 3 calibers, 22 LR, 22 Magnum, and 17 HMR. Just go to henryusa.com and type in personalized in your search box. Well, there you're going to find a link to the product page with step-by-step instructions. They can engrave any message that you want, up to 20 words, and the process is easy, it's simple, it's affordable, and it doesn't require a gunsmith. Check out Henry's personalized receiver covers if you're looking for a great gift for dads or grads. Make sure you get their free catalog. They mail it with free decals and a list of dealers where you live. That's henryusa.com. You get the free catalog, free decals. They have 200 rifles, shotguns, revolvers to choose from, and you're going to love this company. I know I do.
Freedom begins with you. Learn how to spot and call out corruption like the Edgar County Watchdogs do. On Saturday, April 13th, Breakthrough Ideas invites you to a training and panel discussion at the Abington Distinctive Banquets in Glen Ellen. Spend the morning interacting with Kirk Allen and John Kraft of the Edgar County Watchdogs. They'll discuss strategies and basics for keeping watch on your tax dollars in your community. You'll hear from Diane Benjamin, blogger for BLN News, Amanda Piker, a No Goshen activist, and Brittany Norwood, a Dalton whistleblower. Session is from 9 a.m. to 12 noon and includes training, discussion, and breakfast. Tickets are only $15 and are on sale now at breakthrough-ideas.com. You'll be immersed in the experience with like-minded people and learn some skills from other watchdogs. Freedom begins with you. Saturday, April 13th at the Abington, presented by Breakthrough Ideas. Go to breakthrough-ideas.com to buy tickets now.
It's 8:08. Let's check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the Kennedy, 14 minutes in from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike, 1 hour from 390 into the old post office. Due to an accident, the Stevenson inbound is jammed up between the Tri-State to the accident site near the Des Plaines River Bridge, 71 minutes into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Stop and go on the Dan Ryan. Inbound in the Express between 63rd and the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Clouds and breezy, chilly day, couple of snow or rain showers this morning. Little to no accumulation, changing over to all rain by afternoon. High today 42. Evening shower tonight, otherwise cloudy, low 35. Clouds and sun tomorrow, the high 46. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
36 in clouds at O'Hare, 36 at DuPage Airport, 38 Lakefront. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Is there a shift happening in urban centers against the left, both within the ranks of Democrats, opting for more moderate candidates when they're available, as well as some Democrats flipping, like Chicagoan Kata Truss, and converting to Trump, at least for the time being?
All right, so I noticed your hat, Chicago for Trump. What is the story? Who are you, and what's the story behind that hat?
Well, first of all, my name is Kata Truss, and I am a Chicagoan, and I was a lifelong Democrat until I really started paying attention to the Democratic policies and how they were hurting the city of Chicago, and I had decided that I had just had enough. And the migrant crisis is what really...
The migrant crisis.
The migrant crisis took me over the edge.
What is that looking like in your city right now, the migrant crisis?
It is looking like a mess. It is a mess, and that's exactly what it is. But, you know, I started paying attention to not just the migrant crisis, but the Democratic policies, and how those policies have really hurt, not helped us. And I just decided I have to get off this ride and go for a winner.
Yeah, well... some other people are joining Miss Truss, getting off that ride. This Wall Street Journal swing state poll, in which finds Trump up in 6 of the 7 swing states, the exception being Wisconsin, where it's basically tied. Trump has support from 30% of black men and 47% of Latino men. Trump's winning Latino men outright, Biden drawing only 40%.
47,
and in addition to that, the comparison in terms of where Biden is with some minority voters as compared to where he was in 2020, Biden won 91% of black voters in total, men and women, compared with the 68% support he's enjoying now. I mean, a 23% decline is substantial. He won 63% of Latino voters in 2020 compared to where he is now at 45%, 18 percentage point decline, also substantial. And if those numbers stick, it's difficult to see how he wins re-election. So is this shift in urban centers really happening, or is this just really representative of one-offs that have converted because of what migrants, the influx of migrants have meant for big cities like Chicago, New York? Is it the difficult economic times because of Bidenflation, and it's just a reaction to Biden, but there's not really a move towards a reordering in the direction of Republican politicians writ large? What's happening? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Darvio Moro. He's the CEO of FCB Radio Network and the co-host of the Outlaws Radio Show. Darvio, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So, answer my question. What's your perspective on what's happening? Is this just a blip because of the weakness of Biden, both physically, mentally, and economically, and in combination with the open borders, where now you have a lot of minority families in big cities feeling like they're being treated like second-class citizens as compared to people in this country illegally? Or is there a real reordering going on? Is there some sort of generational reordering of minorities to at least be more evenly distributed between Republicans and Democrats?
So I think the least complicated answer to that is to be determined.
Mm-hmm.
There is a legitimate shift in attitudes. There is a legitimate shift in people wanting to explore their political options. Whether that sticks or not, in my view, is dependent upon the Republican Party. Because what you're seeing in polling, if we're just talking, and this is just purely on Republican, Democrat, not talking about what's going on in the Democratic Party as well, because we're also seeing moves towards more moderate Democrats in the Democratic Party itself. But from the Republican versus Democrat perspective, when you look at certain polling, and the polling has been completely consistent throughout this entire election cycle, showing Trump's numbers elevated among African Americans and black men in particular, as well as Hispanics. You don't see that going to other Republican candidates down ballot.
Why?
You see it really being a Trump phenomenon.
Why is that?
I don't think that the party, there was a story that came out recently that the National Republican Party still doesn't have any infrastructure in place to compete for black voters. Still 7 months out from the election. So I think the party itself still has not done the things that's necessary to make this stick beyond Trump.
So why you said Trump phenomenon, including with minority voters? So what is different about Trump to them?
So I think it's two things. One, Trump is the unique political figure that he has a brand outside of his party, right? Like Trump is a brand in and of himself. And it appears, at least from the polling, that people are kind of separating the two brands. That's one thing. The other thing, too, is that we're in a unique situation that that none of us have seen in our lifetime, where you have a president who was one term and then getting a rematch against his successor. So people are getting to compare, apples to apples. This is what things were like 4 years ago versus this is what things are like now. And because of that, I also think that creates a unique environment as well. This is something that none of us have seen in our lifetime.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think those are good observations. So that you heard from that Chicagoan, Kata Truss, saying, the migrant thing sort of flipped me, but I started thinking back about all these policies since Chicago's been dominated for 100 years by Democrats. And sort of did how has that worked out? How is that going? Is that enough of a probationary period? I think so. So let's make an assessment. And ultimately, her assessment is things aren't going that great. But I don't see. But of course, that didn't change the sort of profile of candidate that was selected in Chicago in Brandon Johnson. And you see basically mayors in big cities around the country who are interchangeable in terms of their policy views. Brandon Scott could be mayor of Chicago. Brandon Johnson could be mayor of Baltimore. There's no difference. And you could say that about most of the mayors of big cities. Michelle Wu could be mayor of Chicago. Brandon Johnson could be mayor of Boston. There wouldn't be any difference. So I mean, I agree with you. And this is why, in terms of it's to be determined. But I think the evidence is pretty scant right now outside of Trump that there is a re-examination going on generally that may be going on individually with people like Ms. Truss.
Well, I think if you really want to see what's going on in a larger, perspective outside of, Trump versus Biden, I would be looking at some of these other races that have been happening in Democratic primaries in particular, across this country. We had one here recently in Cuyahoga County for prosecutor, where you had a moderate Democrat who was the incumbent, who was being challenged by a far left. He had once supported abolishing the police altogether because defunding the police was too moderate of a position for him. Right. This is the kind of guy who was running against our incumbent, and he got the tar beat out of him in this county. And Cuyahoga County is almost as blue as Cook County is. And he lost, there's 59 municipalities in this county. He lost 55 of them. He got blown out in the city of Cleveland by double digits. Every demographic group you can think of, he lost. It was just a total beatdown. We also saw in Philadelphia, their moderate mayor was a moderate Democrat who was elected against a far left progressive, and she beat that progressive badly. We saw, of course, as everybody knows, out in San Francisco when Tessa Boudin got recalled. And after I wrote my Newsweek piece about it, I think the day or two after that, there was a poll that came out in the Los Angeles race where George Gascon is being challenged by an independent, and the independent is up double digits in the polls against George Gascon. So you are seeing in a lot of these areas a movement away from the sort of far left progressive policies that the average person never was really calling for in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And if the Republican Party was to seize this opportunity to make this more than a Trump phenomenon, as you were describing, what would that look like or sound like to you? Where do you think the lessons from Trump that can be learned, or just the lessons that that if you listen to Black and Latino families around the country could be learned to say that this is where you need to address us, on these particular issues or in this particular way at this particular place, in this unique situation, as you were detailing, what exactly is the best way to seize the opportunity in your view?
So I think to some degree, minority voters want what everybody else wants, right? They want safety, prosperity, things like that. I think what needs to happen, if the Republican Party wants to make this an actual thing that sticks with the party in general, is they have to be the one that represents the aspirations of those voters. And you have to meet people where they are. So understand the fact that if you're someone that comes from a neighborhood that has been that has dealt with disinvestment for 40, 50 years, the things that you may need may not necessarily be the same as somewhere in a wealthy suburban America. So you have to represent those voters that you're trying to attract. But ultimately, it's safety, it's prosperity. People want access to the American dream. A lot of people feel like that's unattainable now. So I think what Republicans should be doing, they especially should be talking on the ground with people in those communities that understand those communities. A perfect example in Chicago is a guy by the name of Devin Jones, who runs the Southside GOP, and he's been doing yeoman's work out there, not getting a ton of help, but really still being able to move the needle. It's people like that on the ground that Republicans need to be engaging with. I think sometimes when Republicans do attempt minority outreach, which is few and far between, but when they do attempt it, it's so top down and not bottom up. They need to be on the ground in those communities, making relationships with people who understand the needs today.
Darvio Moro, CEO of the FCB Radio Network, co-host of the Outlaws radio show as well. Darvio, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss. Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay, can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large envelope to Northbrook?
We can deliver that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you...
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
Do you have any pain in your joints? How about your hip, your elbow, your knee, shoulders? Well, the future of medicine is here, and it's called QC Kinetics. QC is the nation's leader in the most exciting revolution in pain management that we've seen in decades. Regenerative medicine. So if you're tired of your achy joints, if your joint pain is keeping you from doing what you love, you need to call QC Kinetics today. Surgery, steroids, cortisone shots, drugs, these are no longer your best options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatments that deliver lasting results. We're talking about natural biologics here, using your own body's power to repair and restore damaged tissue. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup. Dr. Scheinkup is a pioneer in this field with 20 years of clinical work research. He's really the best. He's teaching, publishing, and he wants to get you relief with a needle, not a knife. So call QC Kinetics now to learn more about some exciting options. Again, it's a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Think about it. You don't have to take vacation time to have surgery because you don't need surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Appointments are now available on Saturdays. The number to call, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955.
You cannot live forever, but your legacy can. For over 185 years, families have trusted Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago to set their legacies in stone. With 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties, a prepaid cemetery plan locks in today's prices and safeguards against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Hi, it's Scott Tucker, host of Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker, heard on AM 560 on Sundays at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. I want to offer you a free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? To get your free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Just go to retirementdakota.com. That's retirementdakota.com. And please listen every Sunday at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
When I go out, I take a bottle of each because sometimes I end up talking to people in the restaurants here. Someone looking at them, I say, oh, this isn't a Christmas decoration, this red and green. This is my Balance of Nature. I tell people all the time, I'm happier and I feel better. I love this product. It's done so much for me, it's not even funny. And don't think I'm not talking to everybody that I know about it.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, Regular Joe with you again with a troubling update. Robin Voss has crossed lines that cannot be ignored. His actions to block legislation preventing the Chinese Communist Party from buying Wisconsin farmland not only disregards our agricultural heritage, but poses a clear and present danger to our state's sovereignty and security. Voss's vice chairmanship on a board with deep ties to a Chinese group intent on influencing American legislators reveals a conflict of interest that cannot stand. Meanwhile, regime puppets on the radio work overtime to mislead the people of Wisconsin, painting a false narrative to protect Voss. But the facts remain and the truth is clear. With the recent recall effort, the people's voice was strong. Signatures outnumbered Voss's primary votes. It's time to finish what we started. Sign the new petition. Visit RacineRecall.org. That's RacineRecall.org. Let's recall Robin CCP Voss and reclaim our state.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, just a quick little COVID mention since we're staying on top of this. Thankfully, we have academics continuing to research all the impacts of the terrible COVID response policies.
Good.
Some academics from Patterson University in New Jersey and George Mason looked at the impact of vaccine mandates on healthcare industry.
Oh, yeah. Think of how many people lost their jobs.
Our findings suggest that vaccine mandates may have worsened healthcare workforce shortages.
Oh, there you go.
Following adoption of a state-level mandate, the probability of working in the healthcare industry declines by 6%. Effects are larger among workers in healthcare-specific occupations who leave the industry at higher rates in response to mandates and are slower to be replaced than workers in non-healthcare occupations. So, I mean, just to, sort of demoralizing and driving out healthcare professionals from the healthcare sector, like we do police with and law enforcement with our indifference to, enforcement of the law and removal of repeat violent offenders, for example, from the streets, whether they're indigenous or imported. A real impact. And just remember, so the consequence, and remember the approach that was taken from these COVIDian politicians in the heyday of promoting vaccine mandates and suggesting that anybody who did not comply with the mandate be ostracized from civil society for eternity. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. None other than the former Sandinistan mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio.
Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated.
Eating the fries.
You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this? Oh, God. Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination. Vaccination. I'm getting a very good feeling about vaccination right this moment.
I mean, it's such arrogance, and it just brings you back to horrible times.
Well, the horrible times are still here because the horrible politicians are still in office, and for the most case, and it's just a reminder of the real respect they have for you, the way they talk to you. and the mandates they impose on you. But really, the approach, the way they talk to you, really tells you what they think of you. You have a good feeling, too, listening to Bill de Blasio, a commie doofus like Bill de Blasio, talk down to you?
It's not even his real name. And then Mayor Lightfoot, we pulled up this tweet. To put it simply, if you've been living vaccine-free, your time is up. This health order is going to pose an inconvenience to the unvaccinated, and in fact, it is inconvenient by design. That's what she did the day that she had put that vaccine mandate in place in Chicago, which drove you out of town and many others. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
That's not what drove me out of town.
Well, no.
But it's things like that.
Exactly.
Dave Seminara, former diplomat and author. The optimism of Kamala Harris. Let's dig deep into the gray matter of Kamala Harris. Won't you join us at 8:38?
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike.
8:32, 37 degrees and cloudy skies. Emergency crews are still trying to reach hundreds of people in need of rescue after a major earthquake rocked eastern Taiwan. 700 are believed to be trapped in hard-hit areas. 1,000 people injured. At least 10 were killed. President Biden plans to speak with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today.
The conversation between the president and Prime killed several humanitarian aid workers this week in Gaza. The president described outrage over the incident. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says that does not signal a shift in U.S. support for Israel.
We are working very closely with them. We will continue to work closely with them to make sure they can defend themselves, but also that they do it in a way that is in keeping with the highest standards of the law of armed conflict.
President Biden has warned Netanyahu against a ground invasion of Rafah in southern Gaza, where more than 1 million civilians are seeking refuge. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Wednesday, stormy weather impacted salvage efforts at the site of the Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore. Crews are ready to start unloading containers from the wrecked cargo ship, but they need a break in weather to do so. Police are investigating after someone shot a fast food worker through a drive-through window. It happened in the city's Chatham neighborhood overnight. According to Chicago police, the victim, a 20-year-old woman, was transported by Chicago Fire to the University of Chicago Medical Center in fair condition. Visitation and funeral for a fallen officer, Deputy Christina Musil, will be held this afternoon. Musil was killed last Thursday when police say a truck ran off the road and crashed into the back of her squad car. Nathan Sweeney of DeKalb has been charged with reckless homicide and DUI in connection with that death. Chicago sports, Cubs celebrating a series sweep, outlasting the Rockies 9-8 at Wrigley Field, while the White Sox were rained and snowed out. That game pushed back to June 27. The news, a service of Allstate. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. It's good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees bullying from the left.
Man wins first place in women's weightlifting competition. Do you know why they allow men who say they're women to compete? The answer, cowardice. They don't really believe it's right. If it weren't for cowardice, the left would not win any election. People are afraid of the left.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
The future of medicine is here at QC Kinetics. QC is the nation's leader in the most exciting revolution in pain management we've seen in decades. Regenerative medicine. If you're tired of achy joints, if your joint pain is keeping you from doing what you love, you need to call QC Kinetics today. Surgery, steroids, drugs, these are no longer your best options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatment that delivers lasting results. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Michael Scheinkup. Dr. Scheinkup is a pioneer in this field with 20 years of clinical work, research, teaching, and publishing. He wants to get you relief with a needle, not a knife. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Appointments now available on Saturdays. Call 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955. Again, that's 312-809-5955.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan. Help protect your information with LifeLock. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code.
It's 8:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Eden's right now jammed solid as you roll between Foster and the junction. 30 minutes from Lake Cook Road to that junction. It's 80 minutes, an hour 20. Kennedy inbound from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. You're solid from the junction all the way into the circle. Stevenson pothole repair 2 right lanes between Route 83 and the Des Plaines River Bridge. Accident Dan Ryan reported inbound right at 31st. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast in the AM 560 Weather Center, a service of QC Kinetics. Cloudy, chilly, snow, rain in the morning, then a few showers in the afternoon. High 42. Currently cloudy and 36. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I've got some good news and some bad news on the DIE front, diversity, inclusion, equity. Talked a little bit about it yesterday. There's definitely some clawing back going on, but it takes real leadership at the state level in particular when you're talking about public universities. You've seen that from Ron DeSantis. Seen it from Greg Abbott, too, being visited upon the University of Texas, and the DIE-addled kids at the University of Texas are just beside themselves.
I cried, and I was angry. A lot of people are upset. All of my group chats are raging, all of the group me's, all of the slacks, everybody is raging.
They say the people and experiences close to them are being ripped away. According to our partners at the American Statesman, at least 60 staff members who were previously in DEI roles have been notified that their last day is at the end of the semester. In a letter to the UT community, President Jay Harsel wrote in part, quote, "To reduce overlap, we are closing the Division of Campus and Community Engagement and redistributing the remaining programs," end quote. That division used to be DEI related and, like similar departments, had to change its name in January because of the new law.
This is just Texas. Texas does not want us here. Texas has never wanted us here.
Christiana McAfee with the Black Student Alliance says a lot of the DEI related jobs are filled with people who look like her.
For most of us Black students, these are our only letters of recommendation. These are the only people that we can get close enough with to build a further relationship with us.
A lot of them were just there for me and gave me a lot of resources, and were always there when I was unsure of what to do or if I just wasn't feeling right about something.
Yeah, it's a real sad story. In fact, actually, it is a sad story. It's a sad story that you have undergrads at a relatively good school like the University of Texas that are so identitarian addled because of, I assume mainly because of their experience in school from kindergarten to their days at University of Texas. Texas doesn't want us here. Texas never wanted us here. If by us you mean the new Marxists, yeah, probably so. Probably a lot don't want you there, and that's how it goes. Reality bites, kids. Now the flip side is UCLA Med School. Med School. Mm-hmm. They're not going peacefully. They're not going quietly. Mandatory class at UCLA Med School. A lecture from Tina Gray Garcia, who is a pro-Hamas purveyor of agitprop. And this is what she had to say. And UCLA Med School students were compelled to listen. Where's Dr. Joseph Ladapo, now the Florida Surgeon General, when you need him?
Thank you, Creator, for another day of life. Thank you to Wanga relatives for taking care of this small part of Mama Earth, this big part of Mama Earth that the settlers call LA, Los Angeles. Taking care of it so beautifully so that we could still be here. Surviving the violent removal of genocide so that we think that this is a place called LA with no history, no past, no peoples. And thank you for still being here, 500 and 200 Gregorian years later. Standing up, fighting up, speaking up, and shouting out, land back! Back! That part. Thank you to all of our relatives who die on these occupied streets every day. Our black and brown and poor people, houseless people from all nations and all generations who died because of the capitalist lie of scarcity, of private property, of money and ownership of Mama Earth, when Mama Earth was never meant to be bought or sold, pimped, or played. Thank you to
Does she have a mask on too? It sounds like
Free Palestine, demanding that the med students bow down to Mother Earth. October 7th, the Hamas terrorist attack. Justice, that's how she referred to it. She led students in what she described as a non-secular prayer to the ancestors, instructing everyone to get on their knees and touch the floor, Mama Earth, with their fists. About half the class complied. She included a benediction for black, brown, and houseless people, you heard, who die due to the capitalist lie of private property. That's a lie. Mama Earth was never meant to be bought, sold, pimped, or played, you heard her say there at the end. So, yeah, you know, these days when you decide to go to a doctor, you need this checkup or you need a particular procedure, a particular prescription, you may want to ask where they went to med school. And then you may need to do some investigating and tell them, I'll get back to you, especially if they're, say, under the age of 50. For more on all of this and a few other matters, please be joined again by Dave Seminara, former diplomat, author of Footsteps of Federer and Mad Travelers, A Tale of Wanderlust, Greed, and the Quest to Reach the Ends of the Earth. Dave, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
So, you know, the identitarian fight continues in earnest, but at least a few states are actually joining the fight, which is long overdue. So, but it's very interesting to hear the reactions. But it's also worth taking note that as much as you may be cheerleading a Ron DeSantis or a Governor Abbott on this matter and others, Border as well, the other side that's actually in control of these institutions, even in red states, is forging ahead.
I thought you were going to say something nice about Florida. You know, at this time of year, I'm usually in a very sunny, optimistic mood about my adopted home state of Florida. But after just having done all this research on inflation here, and seeing our soaring cost of living, I thought I was going to make people in Chicago feel good by talking about how bad inflation is here. But yeah, I mean, we've also got some good things to boast about. We're killing DEI, or at least we're trying to. But, you know, the interesting thing about it is when you talk to other parents, I have 2 teenage sons, even though we've officially sort of killed DEI here, there's still a widespread perception when we talk to other parents about, for example, college admissions, because we've got 2 teenagers. That's kind of a big topic of conversation. People here still think, you know, oh, but you should try to find like a Latino ancestor so you can check that Latino
Yeah, of
box
course.
when you're applying for colleges. Like, I don't know, I guess just habits die hard, but even I sort of still believe, like, really, is it really true? I guess it's just really hard to believe. Is it actually dead, or are there still a lot of preferences out there if you claim you're a member of an oppressed group? I don't know. What do you think?
Well,
I think it's
Can
very
you really
much
kill
alive.
it effectively?
I mean, you don't just kill it by executive order or by legislation,
Yeah.
because then there's the implementation piece, and that's a fight. They fight
Yeah.
every step of the way, and they'll be as obstructionist as they can be. So, you know, it's a cultural argument you need to win about how we should structure things like admissions to colleges and jobs and contracts and so forth. And again, I mean, you just have to look at who controls the institutions on a daily basis. And by and large, I mean, Ben Sass may be an exception, University of Florida, but by and large, it's not the Ben Sasses of the world.
Right. I mean, we're moving in the right direction, but, you know, Florida is an unfinished product. We're not there yet. It is certainly not a utopia yet, but I like the direction we're moving in. Certainly better than what's going on in Illinois.
Well, yeah, of course, but that's the lowest bar possible. So something else about Florida. Joe Biden the other day offered this guarantee again. This is something that they aim to make central over the next 6 months.
His MAGA officials are calling on for a national ban on the right to choose in every state. I promise you, with the Democratic Congress, Kamala and I will make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again. I promise you.
And so Florida, now some are hoping that Florida has just walked itself into becoming a swing state because of this ballot question that will be on the ballot in November in the state of Florida, whether or not to uphold the 6-week abortion ban that Ron DeSantis signed into law. They think that, and maybe combined with the marijuana question on the ballot, can flip the script in Florida. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. But it's interesting because just, you know, as recently as a few months ago, you know, even very prominent Democrats were saying that they'd given up on Florida. We're not going to spend any money on Florida. So it's interesting now that they have this renewed sense of optimism by putting these ballot initiatives on the, on the ballot for November. I don't know if it's going to have a big impact or not. I mean, I certainly don't think Biden's going to win here. That's for sure. But there's also, you know, they're not giving up on Florida long term. We've seen a report for the Center for Immigration Studies recently. I don't know if you saw this one, but it said that they looked at all these hundreds of thousands of people who were getting parole from the 9 different countries. I think 360,000 people, the Center for Immigration Studies said. And their report indicated that something like 90% of them were being sent to Texas and Florida.
Right.
So there's a strategy there, isn't it? I mean, of course, these people are not going to be able to immediately vote in this year's election, but they're not giving up on Florida long term. Let's put it that way. They strategically, they're probably not going to spend money here, at least not very much in November, because I think it's a long shot, right, for them to flip Florida. But long term, they definitely want this state back. They're not giving up.
Well, they're also, and that's near the top of that list. In addition to Texas and Florida, is Georgia, and there was an amendment that was offered by Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty to stop the funding that is used to provide for these parole flights from foreign countries to American airports. And every single Senate Democrat voted to continue the flights. So what does that tell you?
Right. And I think also, too, that what they can do is I think they can sort of force the Trump campaign maybe to spend a little bit of money here, whereas otherwise maybe they wouldn't at all. So if they can make it even vaguely competitive here and force Trump to actually spend some money or spend time here in this state, then that's sort of an advantage too, even if they know they're not going to win. You know what I mean?
Right. And they'll have Kamala Harris circumnavigating the country, talking about what she can talk about, as best as she can talk, which is abortion. I mean, thus, her historic visit to the Planned Parenthood mill in Minnesota and these sorts of things. I mean, they're sort of in a place where they have to rely on that sort of rallying around that issue because they just don't have much currency on too many other issues.
No, I mean, Kamala, you got to love her, right? She is just tremendous. I mean, if only she'd actually gotten an abortion at that clinic, they probably would have nominated her for a Nobel Prize, right? I mean, the media loved that one. But, yeah, she comes here to Florida, relatively frequently, too. Why, I don't really have any idea. I mean, seriously, anyone who's a fan of our vice president is, like, functionally brain dead, as she is. I think I wrote in my column, and I love it whenever an editor gives me an opportunity to write about Kamala, which the Daily Telegraph just did. I think I wrote in my most recent column that my dog, Josh, is more intelligent and coherent and a lot more likable than she is. And I think I was being charitable, to be honest. She's an absolute albatross, isn't she? I mean, the thing that I think should concern Democrats about her, too, is that, I mean, you've already got a weak person at the top of the ticket, and then you somehow find a vice president who's even weaker and polls worse than you do. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, the only good news from their perspective is that she is not going to be able to mount much of a future beyond this cycle. I mean, she'll have about as much chance in 28 as Mike Pence did in 24.
Oh, I'm not even thinking about 28. I mean, my concern right now is that Biden somehow wins, which I don't think, a lot of Republicans are feeling very, confident, and the polls look good at the moment. But listen, we're 6 or 7 months away. Mm-hmm. I think, people are getting way too cocky with these polls right now. A lot of Republicans are feeling like, oh, this is going to be a landslide, or it's going to be a comfortable win. I don't feel that comfortable at all. And what concerns me, as I outlined in the column I wrote about Kamala, is that I don't think Biden, if he does somehow win, would serve out of 4 years. No. I think he would, having quote unquote saved democracy, would decide to retire maybe a year or two in, and then all of a sudden she gets this designation. And the thing that's troubling about it is you can live with any president for 4 years or 2 years or even 8. But she would have this really important historical designation, and even like 100 years from now, school children will be told about the great Kamala, the great feminist hero who was our first American. I mean, seriously, first American female president. That would be huge, absolutely massive.
And don't want it to be her, though.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm saying. My God, it's a horrifying prospect.
Although she does have her finger on the pulse of what Americans are thinking. And why maybe there is some renewed optimism that benefits the Biden-Harris ticket because of that the new president of Guatemala, which is an important occurrence for Americans. They're very there's a lot of excitement across the fruited plains about that new president of Guatemala, isn't there?
Yeah, she actually said that. I actually did my due diligence because I wanted to find some fresh Kamala word salads. I actually went through some of her recent speeches and remarks, and believe me, I think I'm probably the only person in America who's actually done this, reading transcripts of Kamala Harris' recent speeches. And I mean, you don't have to click very far to get into some absolute nonsense. But yeah, she did say that. She said that, my God, the election of this new guy in Guatemala, whose name I've already forgotten, just has brought hope, and Americans are feeling a renewed sense of optimism thanks to this. And then then she actually had to bring up her role in trying to address the root causes of migration.
It's gone great.
And how much success. Yeah, I mean, she was actually boasted about that. Like, we're doing great, and she rattled off some statistics. Like, we've assisted 63,000 Guatemalan farmers. That's what American cares about that? You know what I mean?
Nobody cares. And the guy's name is Bernard.
Nobody cares.
Bernardo.
From Guatemala. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. That country's on my list.
Amy
I'm
has
just letting you know.
Amy has
Christy
a
and I are
renewed
tight.
Amy has a renewed sense of optimism over Bernardo's election too. Yeah.
Well, I actually like the new president of El Salvador now. He seems pretty cool. The new president of Guatemala, I don't know anything about him.
Dave Seminar, former diplomat, author of the books Footsteps of Federer and Mad Travelers, A Tale of Wanderlust, Greed, and the Quest to Reach the Ends of the Earth. Thanks as always, Dave. Appreciate it.
Nice talking to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
For over 23 years, Applied Mechanical Sales has offered boilers, water heaters, and exhaust venting to commercial mechanical contractors. They aid in the selection of standard and high-efficiency hydronic system equipment for replacement or new construction. From schools to churches to high-rises and hotels, Applied Mechanical provides high-quality, cost-effective Camus boilers and water heaters in many of Chicago's most iconic buildings. Mechanical design firms trust Applied Mechanical to support them by specifying the size and type of boilers to best match a building's load profile for the worst of Chicago weather conditions. Engineers and contractors can be confident that they'll experience trouble-free operation for the next 15 to 20 years. Applied Mechanical Sales ensures their boilers are properly installed and operate at peak efficiency long after the initial startup. Go to appliedmechanicalsales.com to schedule a site visit and boiler replacement assessment. That's appliedmechanicalsales.com.
Attention business owners, stop wasting money on rent and start building up equity by owning a custom designed building from General Steel. Over 4 decades, General Steel's been trusted by small business owners and the Fortune 500. Call us today at 866-62-STEEL for your fast construction, low maintenance, high quality building at an affordable price. Call 866-62-STEEL to own your building starting with just a small deposit. Business owners like you are taking advantage of early spring weather and getting a head start in their projects. This surge in demand will extend the project timeline, so act now and be ready to build this spring. Call 866-62-STEEL to secure your place in our delivery schedule. Stop wasting money on rent and start gaining equity with a building from General Steel. Call 866-62-STEEL now to find out how quickly your business can move into one of our quick construction kits, like a 50 by 100 perfect for the small business owner, or a 200 by 450 favorite of the Fortune 500. Just call 866-62-STEEL. That's 866-627-8335.
Can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's SPECTRIOS.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, so you're going fishing?
Gone fishing. I'm hanging up the sign.
Okay.
I'll see you on Monday.
All right.
Have fun.
Thanks to Justin Kostic, Quinn McCarthy. Couldn't do it without him. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Suburban student dies in a ski accident in Switzerland. We'll have details on that developing story. Armed robberies continue across several Chicago neighborhoods, and the Cubs outlast the Rockies. WIND, Chicago News Time 9.
Why the negativity? I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. 2 more polls this morning from Emerson College and Marquette University show Donald Trump a point or 2 ahead of President Biden, and the Biden campaign's trying to figure out if he's really losing, and if so, why?
President Biden repeatedly says that the press is not highlighting the right polls, that he believes that they only highlight the polls which show him trailing former President Trump. And Politico now reports that the Biden campaign is staffing up to try to understand this polling better. This is the poll the Wall Street Journal had, which showed the former president beating President Biden in 6 of 7 swing states. The Biden campaign telling Politico it's staffing up now because it's building infrastructure to put us on a path to victory this fall, and bringing together a battle-tested, world-class data and polling operation is an essential step.
Fox's Mark Meredith. The president speaks today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about the war in Gaza, protecting civilians, and the airstrike that killed 7 aid workers Monday in 3 cars a mile and a half away from each other. Former President Trump attends an event tonight at his place. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
The Border 911 Gala is set